We need more white guys giving their insight on things they don't understand. Podwood forecast.
Nothing beats that millennial depression like crisp Pepsi.
You're watching Jason slam a woman against a tree.
For context, we're talking about Jason from Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, I probably should clarify.
Okay. All right. We're rolling.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Podwood Forecast, where we talk about really dicey subjects. And today, we're going to give our thoughts on nepotism. Mitchell, what are your thoughts on nepotism?
It's awesome.
In Hollywood. It's awesome.
It's inevitable, and it's probably the only way to really get into Hollywood. So too bad.
Yep. I honestly, legitimately agree with you.
Kinda.
All right.
Kinda, yeah.
Moving on. Wow. Everything
You cannot get anywhere in Hollywood without connections, I feel like.
It's a thing that happens.
Unless you're just so talented that they bow down to your talent and beg you to make them a movie. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't even actually really trying to start like a
Yeah.
like a actual serious conversation, but like
I was like,
while we're talking about it,
I was like, it'd be
guess.
funny to reply seriously.
And I mean, I kind of agree with you. I don't know why everyone was so upset. It just happens. I mean, like I get upset when like the person is not good at acting, and it's like it's clear the only reason they're in the industry is because of
their
nepotism.
dad was the screenwriter or something.
Right, yeah. But that doesn't mean that it's like inherently bad.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyways. Sorry.
After Earth, for example, amazing movie.
Yeah. It's so good. M. Night Shyamalan is
It's
such
his
a
best
talented
movie.
director.
I love M. Night, but
You're his fan.
After Earth is just not.
After Earth.
It's not it, son.
It's After Earth.
That's a Will Smith movie, though. He basically made that movie.
True, but also Last Airbender.
He just forced M. Night to sit on a chair behind the camera and say action.
Poor M. Night.
And Last Airbender was a studio mandated Nickelodeon movie. I'll never.
You know what?
forgive.
If that were true, then M. Night Shyamalan. If that were true about the Will Smith thing, after like Will Smith got
Will Smith had
canceled,
so much
that would have been
control
the
over that movie.
perfect time for M. Night to like make some sort of tweet and be like, "Hey, so After Earth was all Will Smith."
Yeah.
So now that everyone hates him, it was all his fault.
he just accepts his mistakes because he's awesome. He's like, yeah, I did that. I'm sorry.
He's a great guy
Ugh.
who puts himself in movies.
Yeah.
His scripts. Okay,
He's
so
the best.
anyways, so what we're actually going to be talking about today, and we're not going to get into it yet, but you guys all know
It's obligatory.
we're doing what I'm sure I've tried to look around. No
Everyone.
one's really talking about these movies.
Yeah.
The whole Barbenheimer movement, like once those movies came out, people stopped talking about them.
Yeah.
So we're going to be your only source.
We have
talking
to
about-
spread the word because no one is aware. And
Yes.
it's sad how little attention these movies got.
Yeah, these independent
And it's our
films.
job to save them.
We gotta save them. We have to save movies.
Meanwhile, Flash made like $5 billion. It's like the number one highest grossing movie. It's like the grossest movie
It's
ever.
the number one DC movie of all time. And
I actually do want to talk about the state of the box office whenever we get around to it.
the state of the box office.
It's really fascinating what movies are flopping and what movies are not right now.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of awesome.
yeah. You had like Indiana
Like the Flash
Jones.
is like the biggest bomb Warner Bros. Has ever had. Like legitimately.
And like the movie, I mean, it's a controversial movie for some reason, but like Sound of Freedom did better than Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones bombed, The Flash bombed, but then stuff like Spider-Verse is making profit, and like Barbie and Oppenheimer. And Spider-Verse is
those
like
are kind of predictable, those
yeah,
three,
but it's Spider-Verse, it's a superhero movie, but it's also like an artistically crafted like animation.
yeah.
So it's weird that the stuff that usually took over the box office and made all the money is kind of flopping right now. And it's like everyone championed behind like Barbie and Oppenheimer, two opposite movies that usually people would just gatekeep and like fight over which one's better and stuff, but like everyone just was like, no, go see both, and they made it a thing. And they Oppenheimer has made more than Inception now. It's his highest grossing non-Batman movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
wow.
his highest grossing non-Batman movie
I did
ever.
not know that.
And
Wow,
Barbie
that's great.
like passed $1 billion. It's just cool.
That's crazy.
It's just cool that like movies like this, that's what's doing well right now.
Movies are so cool, man.
It's very, I don't know, Barbenheimer.
I wish they were real.
Whether you like both, neither, or one or the other, I just think the Barbenheimer thing was a very like
is a good.
It was
thing
very
for movies.
It was a very rejuvenating vibe for movies.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Just everyone being really excited for like two movies that wasn't like Avengers or The Flash. It was just, and they both made like a crap ton of money.
Yeah,
I just think that's so cool. I like that.
And now people are like trying to capitalize off of that, like the whole Saw Patrol thing.
Yeah, it's like, all right, it's like,
for those of you who don't know, the new Saw movie and the new Paw Patrol movie,
so dumb.
They tried to make that a thing with like the Barbenheimer, like on social media.
Yeah, it's
They're
like anytime
2 tickets to Saw Patrol.
It's like now anytime two movies come out close to each other, everyone's gonna try to force a Barbenheimer type thing.
Hey, Watson.
Hey,
I didn't hear you.
Maybe a Barbenheimer type thing could happen again down the road, but I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like anytime that happens now, it's gonna feel so forced.
Yeah, like
it was such
can't
a
happen
and I'm
again.
I'm glad I finally saw Oppenheimer in theaters before it left, because I would have been mad if I missed.
Yeah,
it.
I made you.
If I missed out on Barbenheimer, I would have been mad.
Yeah.
It's like I can't not see both of these in the theater. So
I was waiting for you to see it, and I'm like, okay, hey, Watson, stay.
He's looking for bats.
Yeah, bats. There's actually a mouse trap over there.
And he's just.
And I don't want him to get his poor little nose snapped.
Yeah.
It won't kill him, but yeah.
It would hurt.
It would hurt, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we've had bat problems up here. Give us money so we can pay for a studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Barbenheimer thing is something that like has never happened before and probably could never happen again.
Yeah,
So,
it was just, it has to
don't
be like
force it,
organic
Hollywood.
and like it was kind of like a meme, and people were like, "That's really funny," you know.
Yeah.
This is very like natural how it happened, and then everyone was like, I don't know, all this stuff of like, I think the first thing I saw that like went really viral was the shirt that was like split down the middle, and one half was black, one was pink, and it said Barbenheimer. And everyone was like, oh man, like imagine going to see these movies back to back, and it just formed into this thing. And I feel like that genuinely is a big reason why both made so much money.
Well, it was the fact that they were both being released like literally on the same day.
Yeah.
So people started making jokes about that, and they were making jokes that like, oh, like the big movie bros are gonna actually go see Barbie, you know.
Yeah.
It'll be like a picture of like the characters, the cast from The Sopranos. It'd be like 4 tickets to Barbie, please.
Yeah, it's so funny, and it was just like a delightful vibe. And because usually something like that would happen, it's like all the Barbie fans would be like, I don't know, trashing on Oppenheimer or vice versa. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just cool. It was fun, and I like that it was about movies made by directors who are like pretty passionate filmmakers and have made interesting movies.
They're not hacks.
Yeah, it's like they're not making like a big. I mean, Barbie. It's like it's a Mattel. It's like a toy property. Like, you know, it kind of, but it's also like it's the Barbie movie. You know, but it's made by Greta Gerwig, and it's just.
I mean, and there's been like dozens of Barbie.
It's kind of like a Lego movie thing where it's like I feel like it should feel like a sellout like trash movie, but it's kind of not. I don't know.
Because like there's been dozens of Barbie movies before, but those were like the
just
actual,
like, corny,
you know,
animated.
like franchise kind of movies. But
So
this
it's like a
was
Barbie movie made for like teenagers instead of like 5-year-olds. You know,
right? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll get into that. I guess we talked about the Barbenheimer.
That's our
movement.
pregame.
Yeah, it's our pregame. We do have some housekeeping to get to. So we got a couple questions today. We actually have more than one.
I'm scared.
So the first one is actually more addressed to myself. So
Wow.
sorry, Mitchell. But this one comes from Adam Banks, and he asks, "Did you get the computer and tech stuff resolved yet?"
No.
So yeah,
Well, kinda.
I put up a whole update on my YouTube channel, but I do have some further news from that. So for those of you who don't know, the computer that I've been using for a few years now quit on me, and I wanted to try to get it fixed, or at least get my data recovered from it, to get all the stuff, all my old projects on there that I've been working on. And place I took it in, they got it started because it was a hard drive thing. So they're like, "We got you a new hard drive. We can't recover the data for you, but here's a place that you can send it into."
Dang.
And I got a hold of them, and they're like, "Yeah, it's gonna be probably around like $900."
Whoa, what the heck?
Yeah. So I'm
I
like,
didn't know data backup was that intense.
right, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's because of the size of my hard drive, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
like,
you do have like years of stuff on there. It's probably a pretty intense. Maybe it is like a lot. I don't know.
yeah, it's
I
like
don't know how that
two
works.
terabytes or whatever. I don't even know how to
Yeah,
talk.
okay.
But anyways, I was like $900, and I looked into it, and a MacBook Air M1 costs like $1,000, and I'm like, I'd rather take that money and put it towards a new computer, and do the recovery later when I feel like that I can,
Yeah.
I can spare that money. But like, I really wanted to get a new laptop so that I can, get started again, be more active on YouTube and such. I was able to use my old laptop for our recent episodes, but now this is the first official episode with my new MacBook Air M1. I'm sure you guys can tell the difference listening to this right now. The audio is so much better, I'm sure.
Darn
But
right.
no, not so much. But yeah, so I've got the new laptop, and I'm gonna get started on some new projects and try to get my other podcast and live stream, the I'm Clifford Today show, get that up and running again as soon as I can. So yeah.
Yeah.
My priority right now is to get a new car. So once I get that, I'll get some money together to try and recover the data.
Noise.
Because I had some videos that I had been working on. There was the John James from the Newsboys documentary I'd been working on, and a lot of music I was working on too. And I
Oh
don't,
yeah, that's like all locked right now.
Yeah.
That sucks.
like all the songs that I'd been working on for a new Sherwood Forest EP. That's all on there.
You didn't have anything like saved like on a cloud drive?
No, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I don't do that. I don't think of doing that.
That's okay. The cloud's annoying. I don't blame you.
Yeah, but one of these days I'll get that all back. Just not yet. So
Yeah.
So there'll be more about that. On to the next question. This next question comes from Nicholas Gundy.
Hey, I know him.
Yeah. He asks, "What's an underrated music artist people should know you haven't talked about yet?" Nick, I feel like you've asked this question before, but whatever.
It's always a good question.
It is a good question,
always
especially
an
if we
underrated
found
artist.
if we've gotten into like new stuff
Yeah.
lately. Anyone come to mind, Mitchell?
I've been really enjoying. I don't know if they're like underrated. I don't feel like they're like super popular. Let me look.
The Beatles.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go with Rat Boys. I'm looking at their Spotify now, and yeah, their like most popular song is like 2 million, and like their new album, I'm looking at the plays. It's like under 100,000. It's they're not like insanely popular.
Sometimes,
but they're pretty popular. They're like indie.
There's some artists out there that are still like pretty underground, but like a single or two like does really well on the Spotify.
But they just had a new album come
algorithms.
out called The Window, and it's like probably one of my favorites of the year. I think Rat Boys is really cool.
I feel like you have mentioned them before. I don't know if it was on the podcast or
I
not.
probably
but the
did
name
like
sounds familiar.
like a while ago. I'm sure I mentioned them at some point.
Yeah.
I've been kind of digging Fruit Bats lately too.
Fruit Bats. Oh, okay.
Fruit Bats, they've come up in my Spotify radio, and every time one of their songs showed up, I was like, man, that's groovy. But they're way more. They have like songs with like 40 million plays, but
I'm familiar with
but
them.
they've been cool. I don't know if they'd be underrated.
Humbug Mountain Song. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
I think the lead singer also has his own solo project, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
And then let me check one other thing.
While you're checking that, I've just recently discovered this new hip hop guy. I think he's like popular on TikTok, but his name's Rav, and he's like this younger guy. I haven't listened to all of his music, but he's pretty talented.
Nice.
And he's like everything that I like about hip hop, and he's just really fun. My favorite song so far is "Time Tested."
Nice.
That's a good one. What about you? Did you have another one?
Last one I was gonna mention, they're relatively like they get like 1 million streams. They have like some okay hits, but I still would say they're like they have like less than 80,000 monthly listeners. They're still like they're kind of popular, but I wouldn't say they're famous. But Deep Sea Diver, I discovered them because they opened up for Death Cab for Cutie, and they're really awesome. So yeah, but I feel like Rat Boys might be the most low key of them all. I'm not exactly so underground. I'm suggesting anyone that has like 10 monthly listeners or anything, but I'd probably say Rat Boys is my favorite of those that I mentioned. They're really cool.
Sure. Oh.
So I like them a lot.
I've been getting into there's like some older artists like retro stuff, but I'll give them the spotlight. There's a band that I've been kind of getting into lately called The Call. They were very popular. Well, they were more active around in the 80s, and they had like a couple of radio hits, but they never really like blew up. But I've been getting into them mostly. Their big hits are Let the Day Begin and I Still Believe. It's just some really good 80s anthem rock. So if you're into that, I would highly recommend them. They're called The Call. I guess something else that I've never really mentioned on the show. There's for those of you who have an interest in like folk music and like real folk music, like Irish folk music, there's a couple artists that I appreciate: Andy Irvine and Paul Brady. And those two guys once made an album in the 70s that is actually my favorite folk album of all time, like Irish folk album. And it's just self-titled. It's just Andy Irvine and Paul Brady. It's just a really great, just down to the roots Irish folk album, and it has one of my favorite songs of all time, Arthur McBride. And it's really good. It was recorded in the 70s, and I only just recently actually got that album on vinyl. For years, it was a vinyl copy of that album was like super rare, and they finally just recently like did a re-release of it, and I was so excited, and I have it, and it's great. It's just a really great folk music. And they're really talented. Andy Irvine is a talented mandolin player, and I don't know how much Paul Brady plays, but he's also just a really good singer.
Yeah,
and they're both a great duo. So I would recommend that. Andy Irvine and Paul Brady. Just look them up, and that album will come up. Trying to think if there's anything else. Lady Moon, I've been listening to. Mitchell, you remember a certain group that you and I saw live called Shell?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Shell has been like on indefinite hiatus, sorta.
Oh, right.
But the lead singer, the lead girl, Shell was like a sister group of like 4 women, and they had an interesting blend of like pop and folk. And Lady Moon, the lead girl singer, she's now doing solo stuff under the name Lady Moon, and she just came out with her first self-titled album, and it's really good. It's really pretty. She's got a pretty voice and great melodies and everything. So yeah,
Noise.
I feel like everyone else I've already just talked about on the show, so I was doing my best to pick ones that I hadn't before.
I'll name drop Sunset Roller Coaster too, because I mentioned their EP. I mean, they have like 1 million monthly listeners, but they're from Taipei, so not all their stuff's English. But the Jinji Kiko is like a really good EP. They have some really they're just like very like vibey, groovy, like kind of jazz fusion, synth pop type stuff. They did a song with Adoy, Adoy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but they are from Seoul. They're kind of like synth indie pop, and they did a song with them that was super good. And Adoy, they have like 360,000 monthly listeners, so they're a lot less popular. But if you go to their Spotify page, ADOY, I mean, a lot of their album art has like just anime characters for their album art, like their faces, but the music's like really groovy and chill. And I listened to the Us EP, and that's the one Sunset Roller Coaster was on, and it's just really good. Their stuff's, it's just a groove. I really like it. So yeah, Adoy and Sunset Roller Coaster, I'll mention them too. So because I ever since like you brought up, I remember we did like a kind of a retrospective on some of our older stuff, and you mentioned how I was.
That's where I recognize the name.
Yeah,
from that episode.
Because I mentioned the My Jinji song and like that EP, I was like really obsessed with, and I forgot about them. And whenever you brought that up, I looked them up again and listened to more of their stuff, and they're really good. I love them. So
nice.
They're chill.
Cool. Peter Gabriel has an album called Us.
Ooh.
He should sue them.
No, Sunset Roller Coaster should sue him.
Cool. Well, I hope that answers your question, Nick. Thank you for such a great question. Thanks for like a music related question.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions that you guys would like us to spend time talking about, you can go to our Facebook group, the Podwood Forecast Community. You can just join. It's open for anyone to join. And after every episode will always be like a pinned post that I make where you can like comment a question on there. It can be about anything at all, and we'll do our best to answer it. So, yeah. I think that's it. We got like 7 minutes before we're at 30 minutes. So.
What have you been watching or playing or listening to lately?
What
you been doing lately?
So much. What have I been listening to? Well, I mentioned in the last episode I've been listening to a lot of Talking Heads. I still am.
Nice.
I'm so excited because their live movie, their live film, Stop Making Sense, is getting a 4K release.
I heard that's like an incredible movie. I need to watch it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like I watched it like last year, not really knowing anything about Talking Heads, like maybe 1 or 2 songs, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like probably the best live film I've ever seen.
That's what everyone says. Yeah, I really want to watch it.
Yeah, or live concert film, whatever. But yeah, it's getting a 4K release, and it's supposed to be like in theaters too.
Yeah.
And so I hope that it's somewhere local.
That'd be cool.
Like
I want to see it.
Like maybe at least in a normal theater. I don't know if they play 4K
I could see them playing
films.
some. Probably not. I don't know. But
I don't know. But
they
I
can
would
still
totally
project it, I'm sure.
I would totally take you to that. I think that you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So Talking Heads and such, a bunch of different music.
Nice.
Listening to a lot of PD. I've mentioned him before. He's got a new album that's coming out, and he's got some really great singles, and so I'm really excited for this new album. Also, I've been reading a lot, actually. I could
Good.
mention that. I finished like 2 books this month, and I'm currently trying to finish reading Lord of the Rings.
Oh, nice.
So I can finally say that I read all of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm like halfway through it. But I finished my Chaos book, the book about Charles Manson.
Yeah.
I finished 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. And I don't know. I've just been really motivated to like read more. And I've been using Goodreads, which is kind of like the Letterboxd of books.
I made one a while ago, and I just keep forgetting to like look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like got an account like years ago, and I started using it again because it's a good way to keep track of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what helps keep me motivated to keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've got like a 2023 goal of reading 10 books this year.
Nice.
So we'll see how that goes. So
very good.
What about you?
I have a couple books I haven't gotten around to reading yet, so I'll talk about those when I get to them. I'm looking to start reading a lot of Thomas Pynchon, so like I want to read like The Crying of Lot 49 and Gravity's Rainbow. There's a book called The Stranger I'm wanting to read. I have a lot of stuff on the reading plate, but I've been so distracted with like games because it's been such like a video game centric year for me, like with releases that are just really up my alley. But I've watched a lot of TV lately and games, so I finished watching the entirety of Gilmore Girls with Abby.
Oh yeah.
And we watched the revival series that they did on Netflix a while ago too. That show is very comfy. Some of the characters are insufferable by the end of it, but it's a very like cozy show. I like it.
Yeah.
I really was like super obsessed with it until the end. Like it was just, like I couldn't stop watching it. It was a really, really charming show. Even if it was pretty grating sometimes.
Yeah.
But like lots of good music, just really well made, well shot. Like whoever writes and like makes that show, you can tell they're just like film buffs and just appreciate like really good movies. I mean, they make references all the time, and the main characters are like just film geeks and stuff. You know, it's cool. It's a vibe. It's a very cozy show. So I finished that. The revival was like okay. It was kind of frustrating sometimes, but had some legitimately insane emotional moments. I really liked it.
Yeah. I have not watched it, but my sister loves it, and when I saw your review on Letterboxd,
I replied to that too.
I read the whole thing to her because I knew that she would enjoy it. And
we all hate Logan. Jess deserved better. Rory's annoying by the end of the show, and even worse in the revival. She's just evil. They make Rory's. I'm like, I think the people who make the show wanted everyone to hate Rory, and she's like one of the titular Gilmore Girls.
Top 10 anime villains of all time.
But yeah, it's a good show.
I don't know if I'll ever watch it.
Nah, I don't know if it'd be up your alley. I liked it though. I'm getting Abby to watch Last Airbender, and we're on season 3 now.
Oh, nice.
She's like really into it, and
oh man,
we were getting near the end of season 2, like you know when all the stuff starts going down, and like,
I can't remember like what
spoilers,
happens in what
but like
season,
the end of season 2 when Aang gets shot with lightning and they take Ba Sing Se and like he's like dead. So we were like near the end of that, and I started stopping. She's like, "You cannot. I'm so stressed out. I need to finish this tonight."
Yeah.
So
it reminds me of me when I got into it.
So
I'm like, why do I care so much about this cartoon?
It's so. I'm like rewatching. I'm like, man, this show still just slaps so hard. It's so good.
It slaps.
But yeah, so I'm rewatching Last Airbender.
I need to get that on Blu-ray
because
I can't watch it on Netflix, but I would totally want to watch it.
They have like a Last Airbender and Korra like dual collection thing that's pretty good. I want to watch Korra again and give that another shot because I like it.
I still need to watch it.
Seen it. It's worth watching. It's good. It's not as tightly made as Last Airbender, but it's still good. It's super worth watching. So I might watch that after. And then I've been playing through a lot of Final Fantasy and like Kingdom Hearts again. I showed Abby Kingdom Hearts stuff, and she's like, "You need to play it." So I played through 1 and 2 recently for her, and she's like super invested now.
Yeah,
we're like making fun of it and ripping on it the whole time, but I'm like, man, these games are so fun and charming. And I'm on 3 right now, which is interesting because I haven't played 3. That's the newest one that came out like in 2019 or something.
3?
And that one
but there's like 20 of them.
Yeah, but this one's called 3.
Oh,
and there was like 5 spin-offs that were on like handheld systems, but they were all like permeate, like very important to the story.
Right.
So if you went from 2 to 3 and you didn't play any of the like games that were on like PSP or 3DS, and they put them all in a collection on PS4, so it's easy to play.
Right.
But if you skipped all those and went to 3, like the story would make no sense. It'd be like, what happened? So
what happened?
So I it's weird because I had a weird relationship with 3 when it came out, because I grew up on Kingdom Hearts. I have a very soft spot for the series, and 1 is like one of my favorite games ever made, and 2. But I wasn't crazy for 3 when it came out, and I was a little disappointed with it, but replaying it, I'm kind of coming around on it. I like played some of the spin-offs. I had played them before, but I never finished the 3DS one called Dream Drop Distance, which was apparently the most important one to play. So I like kind of looked up the story on that one, and I like understand
just like
what's
watch a
going
playthrough
on.
of it.
Yeah, I just got a rundown of the story for the games I didn't fully play, which was really only like Recoded and Dream Drop Distance. I played all the others. I played like half of Dream Drop Distance when it came out and gave up because I got like stuck and just stopped playing it. And then so I just had no idea what was happening. But
Yeah.
anyways, I'm rambling. But I looked it up. The story makes sense. I'm in 3, and there's a couple things I'm still have issues with, but I'm like, man, I'm kind of turning around on 3. I kind of think it's a dope game.
It's pretty dope.
I still like 1 and 2 way more, but it's cool. Like, I'm not a hater at all anymore for it. I'm kind of enjoying it a lot, actually. So
Well, good.
So yeah, replaying Kingdom Hearts 3,
character
finished Gilmore Girls, rewatching.
You got a
Last
lot
Airbender.
going on in your
I'm
life.
in my 15-year-old arc right now. I'm just living it up. So.
You need to help me with.
Plus, Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming out, and I'm super interested in it. So I'm like, I can't. I need to get back. I need to get into it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna suck, and I'm gonna love it.
They're all stupid.
Kingdom Hearts is like the closest thing that video games have to David Lynch. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know. There's a Deadly Premonition, and that's like a direct like knockoff of.
Yeah, but that's like intentional.
Freaking.
That's like trying to be Twin Peaks. So like this is the only thing that's like very naturally just like absurd and dumb.
Yeah.
I'm half joking, like not literally,
but I actually secretly love it.
Kingdom Hearts is such a stupid cool series. I love it.
You need to help me with Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I know I should be playing Bloodborne.
I wonder, can the PS4 and PS5 versions play together online?
Yeah.
Elden Ring is cool because you can
as far as I know, because
I would assume so, because
my friend Matt Martin was trying to get us to like play together.
Yeah, playing online on Elden Ring is super cool because you can just kind of run around the world together.
I just don't know what I'm doing because like I'm trying to like.
That's kind of the point in a way. Like you want to just explore until you find stuff.
I need armor because I keep dying.
Yeah, if a place is too hard, to just like go somewhere else.
But now I'm at a point where like I'm at that like pass through the mountains with that big monster guy, and I'm like, but the place I need to get to is right through here. What do I do? But you know,
it's tough.
You'll help me.
It's a hard game for sure, but you can. It's
and I still need to finish
the From Software game. I would say it's the beginning of the game is the hardest, and it honestly becomes one of the easiest From Soft games in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what it looks like whenever I
except for one boss. There's a couple bosses where I almost threw my controller, but Elden Ring's cool. It's just Breath of the Wild, except painful.
Yeah. I kind of wish that I had like a Nintendo Switch because I would love to play.
You can get
either Breath of the Wild or to the new one.
I mean, if you get one, I would let you borrow. Like you could just buy a Switch, and I would let you borrow like any game.
Nobody got money for that.
Yeah.
Someday when I have
get a
my
light,
priorities,
you
out.
You can just get the handheld one, and it's like $200.
Oh, you can just buy that?
There's a Switch Lite. It's called the Switch Lite, and you can't. It doesn't have a dock, so you can't use it on a TV. But it's like just a handheld.
But I would want the TV.
Yeah, but the Switch with the dock, like for the TV, that's like $300. They're pretty cheap, honestly. You can get a used one. I bet you could find a used one at like Mega Replay for $250 or something.
$250.
They're really Nintendo makes pretty cheap consoles. Like this, I think the Switch is the best modern system easily. The PS5 is cool, but I've only used it to play like PS4 games.
Yeah.
The PS5 has like a couple. I've only played like 2 games that were specifically made for the PS5. Everything else I've played on it is just like a PS4 game, but it just runs better because it's like a PS4 Pro. It was like not worth the money, but I've used it, so whatever.
I'm sorry.
It kind of sucks.
Maybe one of these days.
The Switch rocks, man. You can just lay in bed and play it. It's sick.
Yeah, one of these days when I like spend money on the things that I should be spending money on.
Yeah,
I'll be like, yeah, I'll get a Switch.
if you ever get one, don't buy games because Switch games never freaking go down in price. So I'll just let you borrow whatever you want. I have both of the Zelda games. I have Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
All two of them.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'll let you know. Thanks
it.
for the offer.
You're welcome.
Cool.
I want a Nintendo pill you. Nintendo rocks, man. They're the best.
Red and white pill me.
Yeah.
That's the colors. It's like red and white, right?
Yeah, that's kind of their color scheme.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough of the geeky, nerdy crap.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into a break, and we're gonna talk about the best two movies of all time: Oppenheimer and Barbie.
I was like, but the Lord of the Rings is 3 movies.
No, these are better.
That's true.
Greta Gerwig is the new Pete Jackson.
That's so true.
All right, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Oh, me and my cousin one Arthur, my bride, as we went a-walking down by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning.
It's a sustainable building practice
How is it sustainable if you're killing trees?
because it's regenerative. You can grow trees.
Right. Well, you can grow all sorts of things, can't you?
Well, you can't grow concrete.
You can. See you, Cameron. Cheerio.
Let's get down to business.
Let's do it.
The topic that the whole world is talking about. What do we want to start with first? Which one?
Let's do Barbie first, because that's first in the Barbenheimer name.
That's true.
It just makes sense.
Ladies first.
It has to escalate.
Yeah.
Barbie to Oppenheimer. Just feels right. That feels
Yeah.
like left to right. Oppenheimer to Barbie feels like backwards for some reason.
It's like liberals versus conservatives.
It's like it's not Open Arby, it's Barbenheimer.
I think I like that better.
Open Arby?
Open Arby.
That sounds wrong. Like Arby's.
Just go to the theater and just confuse them like one ticket to Open Arby.
Open Arby?
Excuse me, what? Open Arby.
One ticket to Barbenheimer, and they're like, "Sir, you can't just. We're not, You have to buy 2 tickets. I can't just sell you 1 ticket to both
It's like,
movies."
you know that this isn't one movie, right? You're like, what?
I'm surprised no theater did like a Barbenheimer thing where they just sold tickets that said Barbenheimer, but you had to go in the theater room. It's like they just played them.
Yeah,
both
do
back
like
to
a
back.
special deal where if you bought tickets to both of them, you'd save like $1. or
Watching those
something.
movies back to back would be like weird. That would
Yeah,
be
I
like
gotta say-
that would be kind of exhausting.
Neither, unfortunately, everyone, just to preface this, neither of us did the actual like the
No,
full
I watched them
Barbenheimer
like
experience.
weeks apart, but I still saw them both in theaters, so
Yeah.
I count it.
Yeah,
I almost had a chance to go like a few hours out of town to go see it on like 70 millimeter IMAX, but I had taken a sick day the week before, and my friend Christopher asked if I wanted to do it. Like
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher
Come see my
Myers.
movie, please.
He asked if I wanted to do it, but I was like, oh man, I'd have to like call in sick tomorrow, and I already did that. Like, I already had taken like a day and a half. The
Yeah,
week
I
before.
totally get that. It's like you
And I was
can't
just like, I already
overuse
did it.
that.
It's like it just feels too much
you
to
have
take
to
another
wait at
day
least
off.
a few months to use that.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't fake another day. I'm sorry if I didn't. So I almost did, but I just couldn't. I didn't want to like. Plus, I have rent and bills now, so I'm like, I don't want to like lose money.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
I
missed out on doing that.
I
Unfortunately,
almost did Barbenheimer, but I was seeing them with friends, and I tried to get it together, and it was like friends from church, but then people kind of slowly realized we don't want to watch Barbie.
Wow.
So what ended up happening is that I ended up watching
Cowards.
Oppenheimer with my friend Christian, and that night we watched Sound of Freedom.
Oh my god.
So
like the
we
exact
watched-
opposite.
Open read 'em.
Open read 'em.
Yeah.
I at least
Sound
did
of
Barbie
Oppenheimer.
first, and then a couple weeks later I saw Oppenheimer. So I did it in the right order at least.
I would have thought that the right order would be to see Oppenheimer first.
Some people did that, yeah.
Because like if you see Barbie before Oppenheimer, it's like that is like two. It's like all
like
of a
a
sudden
mood
we
killer.
go from like fun and lighthearted to like, oh no, we gotta get serious now.
Yeah, because Oppenheimer is like a devastating movie.
Yeah.
And Barbie is like it's like a Nickelodeon show, you know.
Okay, well let's
It's like
get
Zoe
in.
101.
Let's get into Barbie.
Yeah.
Then.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
I can.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken. I got us both ice cream. Cool.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
There are no multiples of Alan. He's just Alan.
Yeah, I'm confused about that.
So Barbie is directed by Greta Gerwig, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
And basically the movie takes place in Barbie Land, and Barbie.
Very Lego movie-esque with like, oh, it's like in Barbie Land and Will Ferrell's the CEO. Like,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I wonder
And
if
it's
that's,
like, oh, it's the Lego world, but it's also the human world.
Is it
and-
actually the Lego? Like, is Will Ferrell playing his same character? Because I
No.
haven't seen the Lego movie in a long time.
Not literally, no.
Okay.
It's just the parallel is really weird. It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
it's like he's been in like both two movies, like kind of like
He's going to be in
with
all the toy movies.
these weird like toy world but real world premises.
Yeah,
it's funny.
it's true.
It's just like the coincidence. I feel like they did it on purpose, honestly.
Maybe, or he at least like did it on purpose.
I'm sure, yeah.
He's like, put me in this movie. So, anyways, things start going wrong for Barbie. She's acting weird. She's not. Oh yeah, she's walking on her flat feet, and that's weird in Barbie Land.
Yeah, because
And then-
Barbie dolls in real life, they're always on their tiptoes.
Right, yeah. She's like, something's wrong, and I'm like feeling like very moody, and she discovers, and no spoilers, by the way. Well, right now, we'll get into spoilers, but
Yeah.
she discovers that weird Barbie tells her, the reason why you're like this is because your owner in the real world is depressed, and so you need to go to the real world and try to cheer her up.
Yeah.
And so she goes, Ken stows away with her, played by Ryan Gosling, and they go on a little adventure, and yeah. So
And there
that's
you go.
kind of the premise. of
Yeah.
it.
Barbie
So-
starts thinking about death, and she has to fix that.
Yeah, she gets all emo.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mitchell, what were your thoughts on Barbie?
I thought Barbie was super cool. I had a lot of fun with it. I just thought I remember when it went to the real world, I was a little disappointed because I thought that they weren't gonna go back to
They
like the
were never
Barbie
going
Land set.
back.
Like
Yeah.
I was just worried. I was like, oh man, is the Barbie Land, because the whole set, the set of Barbie Land is so much fun.
Yeah.
And like really well put together, and it's all like very real sets, and like they put a lot of effort into that. And I was kind of worried like when they went to the real world that the whole movie was going to be that, and maybe they'd go back at the end. And I was like, oh, so like most of the movie isn't even going to have those kind of visuals, but it's not like that at all. They go
Yeah.
back like pretty quickly actually, and then most of the movie does kind of take place there for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very different from what I expected. I knew it was like PG-13, but it was a little more it took itself more seriously at times than I expected, you know, and it was very lighthearted and goofy and just like silly. You know, it's not like you're not going to leave the theater like having an existential crisis, maybe, but it had some moments where I was like, dang, this is like kind of like kind of emotionally resonating. Like I like the part where like I guess we'll get into slight spoilers, but when she's talking to the old lady at the bus stop and when she's in like the Harry Potter train world talking to the Barbie founder lady and stuff, and I just
Voldemort's fetus
like
body is under the bench there.
like the part where it's like it kind of comes out of nowhere, like, but I just when she's having the scenes of like her owner, quote unquote, she's having like snippets of her life flash through, and she looks at the old lady and she's like, "You're so beautiful." And I don't know why that like made me like emotional. I think for some reason when people in movies are just so intensely kind to like elderly people, it makes me really emotional. Like just calling an old lady beautiful just makes me like cry for some reason.
I think
I don't know. I just thought that was a very sweet, charming scene. But
I think you were just fantasizing about Margot Robbie telling you that you're beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what you want.
But yeah, it had some moments of heart that I was like, this is kind of surprising, and sometimes the humor I didn't find all of it like the humor to land incredibly well. Like there was some like just references I was like kind of eye rolling at. I was like, okay, they made a Snyder Cut joke. It's like whatever. Like there's some stuff that didn't land very well for me, but I thought the movie was like, it was super fun, incredibly well made. It makes me want to see Greta Gerwig make a musical too, because those sequences and the visuals and the sets just so creative and like fun and like some of the jokes I thought were really funny where like when she goes to the high school and her owner's like daughter's at the high school and like she calls her a fascist and she goes and like starts crying. She's like, "But I don't control the railways." It's like it's such like a Simpsons joke. I don't know. There's some like humor. I was like, okay, it's like it's pretty funny. And Ryan Gosling was incredible. And
he was
like the star of the show.
He was the best part of the movie.
He was
honestly.
For sure. Like Ken, he was like hilarious and
perfect casting.
Yeah, and there's some like clever stuff too that I noticed and like saw other people comment on after too, but like stuff like the reason she doesn't care about Ken is because like there's a thing where her owner, the girl who owned her Barbie doll in real life, she mentions in the movie, she was like, "Yeah, I just never got a Ken doll." So it's because like her Barbie doll, because usually it's like people had a Barbie and a Ken, but her Barbie doll never had a Ken counterpart. So that's why she didn't like care about Ken.
She's asexual.
She's independent. But it's like there's a lot of clever things where it's like I didn't really think about that, but I noticed it, and just good filmmaking moments and stuff. It's really not like insanely deep. It's not like the most mind-blowing movie in terms of its message. It's very straightforward, you know. It's like a movie for like teenage girls, you know. It's like the messaging is like I could see it in like a Nickelodeon movie or something, you know. And that's not like an insult. Like it's not made to blow like 30-year-old minds, you know. I do think it's just made for like slightly older like teenagers, you know.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I liked it.
Enjoy it too.
It's not like, you know, it's not like I liked Oppenheimer more. It's not one of my favorites of
spoilers
up there for my favorite of the year or anything, but I really enjoyed it, and just lots of good humor, super well made, very, very Greta Gerwig at like her style. Like it makes me trust her with making like big AAA budget movies, because she's usually done smaller stuff like Lady Bird. She did the Little Women remake.
Yeah.
You know, she's much more like indie small scale director, and I was kind of worried. It's like, oh no, when the indie director starts making big AAA budget movies and they start to sell out and they lose their flair, but her flavor is still here.
She brings her indie touch to it, that's for sure.
Yeah, her flavor is still here, like what she brings as a filmmaker, and it makes me excited. Like I'm like, I trust her like to not sell out making big AAA IP movies.
Right, yeah. And
again,
I realize that now too, because it wasn't until after seeing Barbie that I did see her other films out, which I'll talk about that more later, because there was something else that I wanted to talk about that's not really about Barbie, but it's related to Greta Gerwig, but we'll get to that. So my movie experience, and I will say this movie isn't the freshest on my mind, because it was the first movie that I saw, and it's been a little while.
I saw it when it like came out, and it's been like probably a month.
Yeah,
since
and
then.
Oppenheimer I saw.
We just.
Oh wait, no, I saw Oppenheimer first, but I rewatched it with you recently, so it's a lot more fresh on my mind.
Same.
But overall, I had a good time watching it. I agree with pretty much everything that you said there. It's a funny movie. It's lighthearted, and yeah, I loved Ryan Gosling, and I liked Margot Robbie too. She's
she was
kind of
really good
like
in
a
it.
very obvious casting for Barbie,
and even
you know?
even like the meta humor with the narrator, and he's like when she's like talking about not feeling beautiful in the narrator or something like that, and the narrator is like, editors note, like, don't cast Margot Robbie in this role if you want that, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, something
you know?
like we realize that Margot Robbie is probably not the best choice to say this line, but
I also I like the kind of, I don't know, referential stuff of like people who owned Barbies and their quirks. Like everyone had a Barbie where you like cut the hair off and made it look weird or this or that and stuff. Like I grew up with sisters. Like I always had Barbies around.
It's kind of like the little girl
I played
from
with
Toy
Barbies
Story.
when I was a little boy because my sisters had them.
Yeah,
and I was just like, ooh, Barbies, and I would like take my sister's. She had the basketball one, and you could press a button, and she would like throw a basketball at a hoop.
Dude, me and my
stuff,
brother,
and I was like, I didn't see basketball Barbie. What the heck?
I don't remember
They
basketball
like
Barbie.
just like all the humor of like, you know, Alan and what was like the sugar daddy Ken thing, like all the real stuff, and they're like making fun of like their old toys and stuff. So it's like all real and kind of Mattel like just genuinely making fun of themselves, which I think is kind of funny, you know, so I dig that.
Yeah, me and my brother, since we had two older sisters, you know, we would play with their Barbies, but mostly because they actually had Kens, so we would play with their Kens. And actually, I think we actually had our own Kens because don't make fun of me.
I'm not making fun. When I was a kid and we went to a church sale and they said I could pick any toy I wanted, I chose a Barbie.
Yeah.
I was a Barbie boy.
Yeah. And my sisters, they had a Barbie pool. And me and my brother, we thought that was so awesome. We're like, we want to play with this too. And so we got Kens. We got swimming Kens, where they're like Kens with like swimming trunks on. And that could be... yeah. I was pretty into it, but no.
I wanted an Alan.
Yeah, Alan.
I wanted an Alan.
I am Alan enough.
Michael Cera was so good in that movie too.
He was funny.
So funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed him in there too.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, going back to what I enjoyed about Barbie, Ryan Gosling was great. I laughed at almost like everything that he did. You know,
he's always funny. I love when he's in a comedic role.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like how. Well, I guess he started out with like romantic roles.
Yeah,
then he did
and there was like
more
the Nice Guys
roles.
too. Like he's super funny. That's like a very like adjacent performance to Barbie is the Nice Guys, honestly.
Right. Yeah, and then he's like able to do serious roles like Blade Runner 2049 and Drive. You know, he's just like
he's either stone
he's
face
like
or like
the
ridiculous.
Hollywood movie actor right now. Pretty much, I feel like. And like I loved it how when we're in spoilers now, how when they go into the real world and he's just enamored by everything that men does, and he's like they ride on horses and they wear fur coats. You know, I just thought it was so funny. And the whole joke with them like covering the Matchbox 20 song.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was great.
That was.
And I thought I really enjoyed the production design of like Barbie world and everything, and I liked the very like childish kind of approach to some things, like the scenes where like Margot and Ken are like in a boat, in the water,
where it's like the kind of diorama, like kind of side view when it's like they're transitioning from the real world to Barbie and the boats, and it's like the fake ocean and all that stuff is super fun.
I like
all like
stuff
practically
like that.
done too. Like it was like it's just like very entertainingly made.
Yeah, it looks nice, you know, and overall a good time. However, I did have some issues with it.
I had some problems.
I had some problems. This is a hashtag problematic film. No, not really. Don't worry. I'm not going to go like full Ben Shapiro on you guys.
I hope not.
But I kind of understand like the things that a lot of people have been complaining about. And I was kind of worried about this like before going into the movie. But you were talking earlier about how it got like pretty emotional at parts in the end and like got pretty serious. I, on the other hand, kind of wish that it had been like pretty much like all lighthearted throughout the movie, because I felt like it took a little bit, it took itself a little too seriously.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why I liked it, because I didn't expect it all, and when it happened I was like, whoa, what the heck? And I think the fact they have it happen more than just once makes it work. If it had just been that one scene and never again, it probably would have stuck out as weird.
Yeah.
But I feel like it kind of has that moment. It like establishes there's like this like core heart with like something going on, and then it like goes away for a bit and then it comes back. So it kind of works for me. I feel like it honestly, I'm almost the opposite, where I think it maybe would have been more forgettable if it just stayed more of like a one-note comedy. Kind of like that it has this quirk to. That's kind of like where Greta Gerwig, like I see more of her coming through, like these like moments where she's like having flashes of this life and understanding what like humanity is, and it's like really weird. It's like it shouldn't be here. It feels really out of place. Kind of like those moments like in the Lego movie when it suddenly snaps to real life. It's like, what the heck? It's like that kind of vibe to me. I like the Lego movie more, but I think it works for me personally.
For me, the problems that I have with it is that, you know, you got a lot of people complaining about how the movie, it's very negative towards men, and, you know, it's saying that all men are terrible.
It's really not.
I don't think that it's trying to do that. But when it gets a little serious, it comes across as that way for me personally. Maybe, and I think it's because it takes itself a little too seriously, and I think it could have been written better, in my opinion, especially since, you know, so you got the whole thing with Ken and him bringing back all this like very hyper masculine, you know, stereotypes to Barbie world, and how the Kens take over. And it's like, okay, yeah, you've got this problem set up, and like, yes, agreed, this is not a good thing for anyone right now. But then like, I don't think it really fixes that problem very well near the end, because, you know, you have the Kens who are very, you know, they're like the joke of Barbie world, where like Barbie, all the Barbies are like the important ones, and all the Kens, you know, they're not important. And that's kind of like the thing that Ryan Gosling Ken goes through, is that,
and it's almost reflective of real life too, because it's like, exactly. Yeah, with like the toy line, it's like Kens weren't like really the point, you know.
Oh sure, yeah.
So it's kind of like them. It's like, oh yeah, well you can't, like, no one just bought a Ken doll. It was like you bought a Barbie and a Ken doll. So it's kind of this meta aspect of like the toy itself.
Yeah.
And so them kind of like having the spotlight, it's like reversed and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And it's almost kind of reflective of like real life in a sense. You have a lot of men out there who are, you know, disenfranchised because they feel like that they're being ostracized from society and like being looked down upon just because they want to express their masculinity, and they don't really know how to. And so you have people like, you have like incels and such, and you have people going to people like Andrew Tate and such, and Nick Fuentes, and men who just don't know how to be masculine. And sorry, this is like getting like really deep on this podcast, but it's related to the movie, I think. And it's like, okay, you have this problem that's set up, like, okay, what are you going to do about this? And I feel like that they kind of like brush over the solution in the end, where it's like, hey, sorry we like treated you guys badly, but whatever. You know?
I do think a problem with like, yeah, like maybe there could have been a more like nuanced solution in the end, but I do think people are projecting aspects of that issue in real life with those types of people, or I think they're mirroring it a little too heavily and expecting the movie to make a really intense like statement on that specifically. But I do think it's supposed to be a bit more broad in general, and it's really is like, it's, you know, it's like a message for like teenage girls. It's not a movie for like men to like learn.
Well, see,
that,
like
you
I would
know?
agree with you if they hadn't put so much focus on Ken's character and like all the other Kens. Like they set up this like character conflict with him but then they like pretend at the end as if it's not important.
Well, I think the point of Ken's arc is at the end when it's like he learns that he doesn't need, like, there is an arc with Ken for me where I see
There's an arc. I just don't think
because
that
it's
it
like
was...
Ken with that whole issue of like toxic men and stuff who they base their, like the Andrew Tate type people who base their whole personality on like you're worthless and your whole existence has to be about impressing women and how to attract women and how to do this for women and that for women. And I think a big element of that was like Ken in the movie is learning like his whole existence doesn't have to be about obsessing over Barbie. Like he, you know, that's kind of a big element to it where it's like there is a message for that where it's like, you know, your life isn't just about Barbie. Like you can be your own thing too, and you shouldn't let society, aka people like we are mentioning, tell you that you have to be a certain way for women and stuff like that. And I think that that's kind of the message on the other end of that for Ken, but it is still like about Barbie, you know. Like I think if you end up making the whole movie about Ken's arc and you make that like really, really important and vital, and that's kind of what the movie ends on, that ends up detracting from the point of the movie is it's a more feminine, female-driven message about Barbie and stuff, and you still have something with Ken as an arc, but I think people want like Ken's arc to be equal or as important as Barbie's, but it's not really about that. It's, you know, it's more female driven and stuff, and that's kind of the point of the movie. So I'm okay with it being, you know.
See, I just didn't get that. I
feel
like
it's not really made for, you know, it's made for
Well,
women,
I'm not saying that it's
know?
made for men, but the way that I felt that they wrote it is that they wrote Ken as if he was an important character.
Well, yeah,
and then
he still is, and I felt like he was by the end.
I just don't think that his conclusion was written very well.
I love the conclusion. I like that he doesn't just end up with Barbie. I think that would have been really predictable.
Well, no. I mean, I just felt like it felt rushed and not expounded upon. Yeah, I just felt like it could have been written better. They could have, like, you know, it's for me, it's as if Lord of the Rings like just didn't really care about all the other characters' conclusions, and then they just ended it with like if they just ended it with Frodo getting back to Rivendell, and like that was
maybe
it.
But Lord of the Rings is also very lore intensive, and like the point is like
they put a lot of
emphasis
emphasis on different characters, and they realized that people care about these characters, and so they're like, we're going to give these characters like the conclusion and the arc that they deserve.
Yeah.
And I think
I just think it's like it's a Barbie movie and it's about Barbie, you know, and
I probably wouldn't care so much.
Ken's a supporting character.
I probably wouldn't care so much
know.
if I felt like that they didn't put so much emphasis on it, and it took itself really seriously, and so I'm trying to take it seriously.
Yeah, because I mean, he's basically the antagonist of the movie in a way. So,
in a way, but he's like also a sympathetic character. I feel like,
and I think he ends the movie still like in a way like being redeemed and stuff, but you know the movie's not about him, so I don't know.
Say the movie's not about him.
It's called Barbie.
I know, but they made him
I know.
They wrote him as if he was an important character.
Well, I mean, he was, but his arc isn't necessarily the point of this specific story. I mean, it could have been better.
Well, then why did they focus so much on him like through the first half of the movie?
Well, because he's the driving force of the main issue of the movie. He's like the antagonist, you know.
Yeah, and I felt like that they kind of gave him his conclusion with just like two lines, and then that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of those stuff in the movie just happens so fast, you know? Like, it's very quick. Like, some of the serious moments with Barbie are a little more slow-paced, but I feel like everything in the movie is, like, pretty snappy and happens. Like, the battle with the Kens, like, starts, and then they have a fight on the beach, and it's over. Them getting to the real world and then going back. It's a very fast-paced movie. I don't think they really spend a lot of time, like, developing things like that deeply, except for, like, a couple moments. And I think a lot of people, like, kind of, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not really vibe of the movie is to have these like long, really expository, drawn out arcs for like all these side characters, you know, because there's a couple moments that get a little more slow and serious with like Barbie and stuff and whatnot. But I feel like if you start, I don't know, it's like, I don't know. I didn't mind it. I thought it worked fine for what it was, and it didn't really need to be any deeper than that, you know.
That's fine.
That's just me.
I had a different experience.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm not calling you out specifically, but I just think a lot of dudes watched it and were like, oh man, like Ken should have had like way more like stuff, but Barbie got all the attention. But I'm like, it's a Barbie movie. It's made for like teenage girls.
I just felt like it should have been equal. I mean, if they were going to go with the whole like existential serious route, then it should have been the same for his character. And it's not it's not about the fact that he's a man. Yeah. It's about the fact that he's a character in the movie. Yeah. And I felt like his character arc was just rushed, you know.
I guess,
and, like, I don't really. It didn't really show me that he learned anything, or that the Barbies actually learned anything by the way that they treated him. You know, It was more just like, sorry. But it was like played so seriously. Yeah. I wish that the movie was just a bit more lighthearted, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at least, you know, there's like the 10-15% of the movie that gets a little more of like the existential vibe going on, but you know, the movie ends on like a gynecologist joke, and I just felt like it didn't ask much more of me than what was shown. Like, it's not really like about super deep characters, because Barbie herself, she's not even that deep of a character. It's more the concept and this like meta idea that like Mattel is like changing the world with Barbie, but it's like dolls aren't like healing the world or changing anything. That's not like, you know, like it's like this self-importance of like, oh, Barbie, like we're so important, we like changed feminism forever with Barbie. But it's like kind of this meta realization of, she's like, oh, I'm so important, I'm such a female icon, and then you go in the real world and she's like, oh wait, I thought I changed everything and like helped every woman be empowered and stuff. And it's kind of this message of like, well, a company can't just release a doll. It's almost this idea of like corporate feminism and like a critique on that, and how you need more than that, you know, to actually be meaningful and stuff. And it's this self-critique. And I'm kind of surprised Mattel allowed them to be poked at as much as they did. I kind of respect that. But I mean, they knew that people would laugh, you know, there's still like a business decision behind it by them. Like, oh, people are going to think it's so funny that we did this and we'll sell so many tickets. Well, but I mean, it's still cool. And I think that's kind of more the driving point of the movie is like Barbie, like dolls aren't what make a difference really. Like, yeah, maybe they can help, maybe artificial things like that can help people, but it's more about like Barbie having those flashes of humanity and life, and it's like real things and real life and experiences is what like really matters and causes change and stuff. And I think that's kind of the point in the movie. She becomes a human at the end, you know. It's like she's no longer this artificial doll thing. She's like a human being. And now she can experience the real world and blah 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 and all that, you know.
Did you ever think that it was at any point that it was weird that like near the end of the movie, I kind of had this like thought in the back of my mind where it's like, it's kind of weird that Mattel is doing this, that it almost kind of seems like a sort of self pat on the shoulder, you know, where they're like, look how good we're being right now by, you know, giving this message.
Maybe, but you can also make the argument of like, how did they get away with like letting them do this, you know?
Sure, yeah, but I guess I couldn't get past the fact that it's still like this big corporation. Like, I know it's a Greta Gerwig movie,
yeah,
and she and Noah Baumbach wrote it together, but I still like thought it was just kind of funny how Mattel is just like, oh, we're not about that anymore. This is what Barbie is actually about, and we're so like humble and everything. Anyways, this is still an advertisement for our product, so please go buy our stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point of it. There is still this, like, it is still a big corporate IP movie, and now they're gonna want to make like a bunch of other movies about their other toys and lines and stuff to make money. But it's like I would rather them get away with making a movie like this that does make fun of Mattel, even if it is still for like, these self-interest reasons, because they know poking fun of yourself is like a cool financial thing to do, and people I would rather that get made fun of, because I think more people are going to walk away like understanding the point of what the writers did, than have the opposite where they don't try and it's just a movie that's really shameless and like, look how awesome Mattel is, and it's like the opposite. So I think the opposite would be way worse. It's like they go to the Mattel headquarters and it's all women like working there, and all the heads of the company are women and stuff, and they don't even try to have any self-critique. Like I would rather have what we got than the opposite. That's just totally like, that's baloney, like that's not, I think even if there's always going to be some kind of financial drive behind any IP movie that gets made, no matter how
like
self-critical it is,
bro, or whatever.
But I still think I still respect that they let it happen, even if they knew it would make for a funny movie and make them a bunch of money.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's still like a movie made by a creative person, and the money to this movie is still, going to Mattel, but a lot of the money is still going to like the people who made like just a good, like interestingly made film, and it making that much money is good. And companies are going to get the wrong idea and think people just want movies based on toys and not movies made by interesting filmmakers with interesting messages and tones. And it's just gonna be, make a Roblox movie,
dude.
It's just people are gonna get the wrong idea, and I feel like they already announced like we're gonna make a movies based on 10 other toy IPs.
They did, and
so it's like they're getting the wrong idea from it for sure. But
yeah, people watch movies because they're about toys. Like no, like a lot of. I mean, if this were any other director, honestly, I probably would not have watched
this movie. Same. This movie could have easily been like horrible trash, like it's just a very corny movie about Barbie goes to the real world, and like men catcall her, and then she goes back to Barbie Land, and then they all go and like take over Mattel and like kick all the men out, and then the movie ends. It could have been something very generic, Yeah. And I still think the message of this movie is very straightforward. It's not really that deep.
It's not that deep, bro.
Because at the end of the day, it's a PG-13 movie. It's generally made for like, it's an empowering like message for like teenage girls, and then you have like 30-year-old like dudes wondering why like the message didn't appeal to them. It's like, when teenage girls are teenagers and they're like, haha, boys suck, and it's just that kind of vibe, but I think this movie is a little more nuanced than that. Like I don't think it's just about how men suck, but I like it. I'm glad it did well, and Greta Gerwig is just a good filmmaker, and I still need to watch like her Little Women movie, but I've seen Lady Bird and I love it, and I'm really curious to see what her Narnia movies are going to be like. But
yeah. I wanted to get into that, but yeah, like I said, I overall had a good time. I found some aspects of the movie to be a little groan worthy, just kind of
some of the humor I still did, like some like the Zack Snyder joke I like rolled my eyes at. I just don't I don't like pop reference humor, like pop culture reference humor very much. Sure. That was quite a bit of it, but
talking about The Godfather.
I liked the Matrix joke. That was funny.
I don't even remember.
She's holding the shoes and she's like, you must pick one. It's like the red pill and the blue pill.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
This is basically just like...
You only liked it because
it is bubblegum.
It's
like bubblegum Matrix. That's what this movie is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's like jacking into the real world, It's like, ooh.
But, I mean, yeah. I had my issues with some of it. Like I said, not near as much as like Ben Shapiro, but like
Yeah, no one should have as many issues with this movie as him, if I'm being honest.
I mean, it's fine.
It's not. I don't think it is. Who cares?
People can have their opinions
Oh,
about
they
a
can,
movie.
yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
I still think it's a dumb opinion.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro has very inconsistent movie opinions.
He
so
does.
It's like,
I think some people just put too much value in movies. It's like, it's a movie not made for you. Like, it's fine. Just move on.
Yeah.
It's like chill, you know.
I think he's more concerned because it's like a big, like, cultural kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's like, I don't want my daughters being affected by what I deem could be dangerous ideology or whatever.
Yeah.
And I found
I don't think anyone's going to turn into a psycho because of Barbie the movie.
I'm going to turn into a psycho.
Yeah.
I'm going to I do kind of love how there's like this whole movement of guys after watching Barbie. They're like the whole like I am Kenough movement.
Yeah.
I think that's funny.
It is funny. He's Kenough.
Yeah, I am Kenough.
I want the sweatshirt. I don't
Me
care
too.
I don't care if I'm annoying because of it.
It's funny.
It is.
But yeah, with my issues with it, I didn't think it was that bad. I rolled my eyes at some like few lines that I felt like it was a little too like lean towards feminism, whatever. But that's just me.
Can't believe the Barbie movie was so full of feminism.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
I'm sorry. I'm making fun of you a lot, but I think it's funny.
You know, we have differences
I know,
in this kind of stuff.
I just think it's silly to critique.
I knew that we were going to be able
shocked.
to talk about this, and neither of us was going to get mad.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would never get mad over it. I don't think anyone should get mad over a movie.
Unless it's like
obviously like evil,
Nation.
unless it's evil and horrible and like legitimately like distressful, but
like
it's like come
like
on,
Cuties.
Yeah.
I
course.
canceled my Netflix subscription because of that.
There's some stuff that's obviously warranted.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, and I'm enough, and I'm great at doing stuff. Hey, check me out, yeah, I'm just kidding. My name's Kate, and so am I. Put that manly head in mine. So hey, world, check me out, yeah, I'm just kidding. Baby,
So, anyways, one thing I guess before we get into Oppenheimer,
I called it Oppenheimer for so long, and then I watched.
Some people call it Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I thought it was Oppenheimer, and then I watched the movie, and they were saying Oppenheimer, and I was like, "Oh man, I've been saying it wrong."
Is the Heimer open?
It is open.
So, talking about Greta Gerwig, so before Barbie came out, news broke out that she was going to be directing at least 2 of the Narnia Netflix movies.
Yeah.
And because Netflix announced years ago that they had the rights to make Narnia movies. And for a while, there wasn't really any news about it until this whole Greta Gerwig stuff. So it's become official, and she has confirmed it too. It's also kind of
She's
funny.
making like 2, right? 2 of them?
At least 2. That's all they're
I remember
really
that was a weird
saying.
rumor, and I was like, that'd be weird, but I'm like...
Yeah, and it also hasn't really been confirmed. Like, the people in charge, they like said that, yes, the Narnia franchise is going to consist of movies and series or whatever.
Yeah, it's so weird.
They haven't expounded on what that is, but
yeah, I'm like, what would like they make like... They'll make like a Magician's Nephew movie, and then they'll make The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe like a series, and then I
think there are certain Narnia books
weird.
that would lend themselves well to being a series.
Yeah,
I think Magician's Nephew and Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe should
be movies.
Yeah, but like something like The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, I think would lend itself well to being like, because it's already like a very episodic kind of story.
That's true.
Where it's like they went to this island and this
Even if
happened.
this is like a 4-episode thing and each one's an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm really hoping that it doesn't mean that they're going to write like spin-off stories that are not canon at all.
Yeah.
I really hope not.
That'd be weird. I don't want them to, that would be kind of annoying.
Yeah, I don't want them to like, this isn't Star Wars.
Take like too many liberties.
Right, yeah. So, and for those of you who don't know, like, we did a whole episode about the Walden Media, Disney, Narnia movies a little while back, and I'm a huge fan of Narnia. I grew up with the books, and
Yeah, the books are really cool. I have a really big soft spot for the first two movies.
Yeah.
Not
same
Dawn
here.
Treader,
Yeah, neither of us like Dawn Treader.
Yeah,
but,
it sucks.
But yeah, so I've been following the news about Netflix making these movies for a while, and this news has finally come out. So it's like, this is the first time in forever that a name has been attached to these. And so it's like, oh, okay, so the Barbie movie's coming out. So that was a big reason why I wanted to see it. And then now I've seen it, and then after that, I have caught up on the rest of Greta Gerwig's movies. And so, like, I watched Little Women, and I actually watched the '94 Little Women with Winona Ryder because I wanted to compare. And so I watched her Little
you
Women.
rated Gerwig's higher,
just a little bit,
like
yeah,
half star more, yeah.
Yeah, there are things to enjoy about both of them. I think Greta Gerwig's is obviously like made better in terms of filmmaking, but there is a lot to appreciate about the '90s Little Women. Plus, I also I grew up with my sisters loving that movie,
Yeah.
so there is some nostalgic attachment to it. But there's a lot that I really liked about Greta Gerwig's
Did you like
adaptation.
that one celebrity that showed up later on in the movie that I told you you'd be hyped for?
You told me about that?
I was like, there's an actor that shows up in it, and you'll be excited to see him. Yeah.
Good old Saul Goodman,
Mr. Robert Odin, Mr. Robert Odin,
Robert Odenkirkenheimer.
yeah, he's in that.
That was
later on.
so surprising.
Yeah,
and
I knew you'd be like, oh snap.
It kind of caught me off guard. Because I just could not have imagined casting
He's not really
him.
in a lot of movies, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
you don't
all I
expect
really
to see
know
him.
as is like the comedy guy and Saul Goodman
And nobody.
nobody. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it was kind of interesting to see him as like this loving father figure.
Yeah.
It's funny to say it out loud, but it took a while for me to get used to it. But it was, it was Bob Odenkirk, so I was happy to see him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy Little Women. I'm still, I don't know if you've seen Little Women, right?
I actually haven't.
You haven't.
I just know a lot about it because I know people that love it.
Yeah,
I've seen Lady
spoil
Bird
it.
though.
There were some liberties that Greta Gerwig took with the ending of it, and I'm still kind of figuring out how I feel about it. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the characters and the performances were really good. You got Florence Pugh, Saoirse Ronan, and that's a joke that me and my sister have. Like anytime that we mention her name, like, oh, Saoirse Ronan, Saoirse Ronan, and Emma Watson, and the other girls that I don't know their names.
Wow.
Laura Dern is in it.
Yeah.
And very enjoyable. I saw some people saying that they didn't like Emma Watson's performances. I thought that she was good in it.
I heard,
so,
she's supposed to be really good in that.
Yeah, so Timothée Chalamet is good in it. And yeah, it's a very... I love the story. It's a very charming story, and I thought that she did a good job of adapting it. And so that shows me that she can do adaptations well.
Yeah.
I'm praying.
Was the ending that she took liberties on, was it only different from the original movie? Like, did the original movie actually have a different ending from the book, or was this the one that's different from like the original
I've never read the book, but as far as I know, it is different from the book. But I heard that her excuse for the ending was because it was something that the author originally intended for the book but never actually did it.
That's kind of cool.
So
especially if you have the old one that has the other version, and so it's kind of like this, just an alternate take on that. It's kind of cool to have like both movies that do different thing.
Yeah, but it's like
especially if they're both good,
Yeah.
Like if one of the movies sucked, but then the good one had the ending you didn't like as much, that would be kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how I've felt about it, but overall,
I have no idea about the ending, so I have no idea. But
yeah,
I'll watch it. I'll watch
for
it
you.
eventually.
I won't spoil it for you because it is like a creative twist on it.
Yeah, and I don't have any. I don't know the story. I've never seen the original, so I won't have any context of like how it's supposed to be.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'll probably just not even notice like anything weird.
So a lot of people, you know, like with the whole like recent Barbie thing and like people complaining about it being woke and all that, they're worried about her like adapting these. And here's the thing, it's not really because it's Greta Gerwig that I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm worried because it's an adaptation that's taking place in the 21st century. Because it's just something...
Or the Narnia movies modern day?
No. I mean like in terms of like if they make any changes to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I feel like the C.S. Lewis like estate is going to oversee it still. Like I don't think they're going to like let them remove any of like it's a very obviously like rooted in Christian story kind of thing. I don't think like his estate or whoever is in charge of the IP would let people
that's
like,
what
totally
I'm hoping,
obliterate
as
that
far as I
aspect of it, 'cause
know.
that's an important aspect of those books.
Right, yeah. And as far as I know, Douglas Gresham, I think, is involved. He's the stepson of C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
He was very involved in the Walden Media productions. The thing
she
about,
probably won't be like writing it all or anything either. Like, not that would be like a bad thing, but they're probably gonna have a lot of people that are like
there's probably gonna be
holders
like a
of the
showrunner.
Narnia IP who will like oversee the script, and she'll be like the creative head on it and like direct it, obviously visually and stuff. But
yeah. Last I heard, one of the writers for Inside Out was the showrunner.
Interesting. Okay.
That was years ago that they announced that. I don't know if he still is involved.
Yeah.
But I imagine that they're going to have someone who's like in charge of it. Not Greta Gerwig, because so far she's only hired to direct at least 2 movies. But I don't think she's going to be like the overhead.
Yeah, it's not like she's running the whole thing.
Yeah, she's not the Breaking Bad. What's the Breaking Bad guy?
Oh yeah, I'm blanking. I only know Peter Gold off the top of my head.
Peter Gold.
Because that's Better Call Saul, but
right. Well,
I'm forgetting the other guy's name.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
So
they'll probably have one. They'll probably have a couple people that are the showrunners for every single one that like make sure it's all like consistent.
Yeah.
Like each one links together, and they'll have like different directors, kind of like Harry Potter. Like,
right.
They always have certain people, like the movies. You know, they always had people kind of oversee it, but each movie kind of had a different director. Some had the same directors.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a similar thing to that. You know.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they don't do any like changes to it for the sake of being like politically correct or whatever, because like
that's the thing, those movies don't really have anything to change in that regard. It's not like those movies.
There is one thing that I'm worried about. So in the land of Narnia, or I guess in the universe of Narnia, there is a enemy country called Calormen. And C.S. Lewis was a huge fan of things like Arabian Nights and Aladdin. He loved that stuff. So he based the land of Calormen and its people off of like as if they're very inspired by like Arabian culture.
Yeah.
So and he's very specific too that these people have darker skin.
Yeah.
So but the thing is that they are the enemy. Not all Calormens are bad. There are some
Well, that's the thing is like that. I don't think that would call to just suddenly make them all white, because if anything, that removes diversity. It could be like it could be like a Fire Nation thing from like, you know, they're obviously like there's a higher government aspect that are seen as the enemy, but maybe they meet people from the nation that become friends with them.
Well, yeah, see, he does. He has characters that are Calormens that are good characters.
It's like that's the thing is like I don't feel like they would feel the need to like remove that if they already have that element.
But
I think that's a little too paranoid, because if it was like, oh, they're all evil no matter what.
Not paranoid.
No, I mean it's just, if it was like, oh, they're all evil no matter what, you know, only people with brown skin are evil. Like you never see an evil, like a nice person with brown skin. That'd be a little different, but that's not the case. So I don't think there's anything to correct there.
I don't think so either, but you never know these days. Like,
I don't know
if they get like too overly corrective and overly sensitive about that. I don't think that they should. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll be too concerned about whether it's too much of, if it's too stereotypical, of Arabian culture. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
I mean, when it comes
hoping
to stuff like that,
anything.
now it's like you just get someone who is like knows that culture and is like educated on it, or is like from that culture, and you get them to help.
Because in
you
the
just
end,
get them to help make it.
It was out of an appreciation for that culture. And it is also very crucial for one of the stories, because there's this character who actually is like a northerner. He's white skinned, and he realizes that he's not like everyone else. So he's like, I don't think that I belong here. I got to find where I'm truly from, So that's like a very crucial point about his story.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they don't change anything about that. There were some changes that like the Walden Media adaptations made. Like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the girls don't fight at all in the book. In fact, it's kind of like Santa Claus is, Father Christmas is like, you don't want to be fighting. It's very ugly for women. you know? And Walden Media made that change. The thing is that C.S. Lewis was a lot more, as the books went on, he did allow for women to like be a lot more like involved in battles and cooler. There is this really cool character that I love. Her name is Aravis, and she's also a Calorman. Yeah. She's one of my favorite characters, and like she's this awesome like tomboyish kind of person who like likes to get in trouble and fights and such. So yeah, there's like some slight changes that I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, stuff like that's cool because it makes them more interesting. Like if it works for the movies, because like if you just have them sitting out, just like where's the stakes for them, and it just kind of ends up being boring. So it's like a healthy change for like a visual medium. Yeah. And it makes more sense too. And like you get like her using like the bow and that become her thing, it gives it a little more flavor,
right? Yeah,
and stuff like that. And I think there's obviously going to be liberties, and some stuff will probably change, but when it comes to stuff like that, I think they will find a way to keep them in. And because if you just remove them and you remove any of the characters that are supposed to be like good characters and help out the main cast, all you're doing is removing even more like chances for diversity. So I don't think they would do that.
I hope not.
And if it's about like, they show them that like, our nation isn't, it's like a Fire Nation thing. Like they learn, not everyone in the Last Airbender, it's like, not everyone in the Fire Nation is bad.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this parallel of like xenophobia and learning like, just because you're from this country doesn't mean you're bad, and people learn a lesson and everyone holds hands and loves each other. Like if you can have a message like, if you can use that to employ a message like that, that's just a good message. I mean, it's a basic message, but it's like, I don't think there's anything to really skirt around with that personally, if that's already an element of that story.
And so far, C.S. Lewis has not been canceled for it. So
well, yeah, I mean, C.S. Lewis wasn't a bad guy.
We'll see. Well, yeah, no, he's a great guy.
Exactly.
He's like one of my all-time heroes.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also, when it comes to Greta Gerwig, I'm very hopeful. I think one thing she does really well is like she has a good handle on production design.
Yeah.
Little Women is great at she's really good with period pieces. So
I can see like the intro of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, like all the scenes that take place in the real world.
If they go to Narnia and it's all green screen and looks like a Marvel movie, I'm going to kill someone.
I hope not.
I just want real sets so bad.
What I really would like is I want them to steer away from like the Walden Media dark and gritty Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I want it to be colorful.
Aesthetic.
They were trying to copy Lord of the Rings
and whimsical, and I want the locations to be mostly real if they can.
Yeah,
and just like one thing that I didn't finish it, but I kind of liked the approach with the Netflix A Series of Unfortunate Events series.
Yeah.
Where everything was very whimsical, but like the production design was real, So like if they could like lean a little bit in that direction, kind of, I think that would be cool.
I'd love to see it like the real world. Like it starts out and it's like shot like a David Fincher movie. Like it's dark and like the real world's kind of got this gloomy aspect to it. And they go to Narnia and it's just so contrasted, and it's such a contrast, and it's like colorful and bright and so much light, and I want Narnia to legitimately feel like a different magical plane of existence, you know. I want and then they go back to the real world and it just looks and feel like almost like a different movie or something. Like I think that'd be a really cool style to go with.
That'd be interesting.
Be fun. At least make real life. I mean, it can still be shot well. I'm not saying make it look bad and boring, but like make it look pretty mundane, like, you know, make it look just very normal. And then you go to Narnia and it's like really bright and just beautiful and colorful, and I want Narnia to feel really visually special.
Yeah,
because that's the point. Is like they go there and it's like an escape from the real world, you know. And I want it to feel like that.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah, I agree. So, you know, and I would want it to be magical and whimsical when it's necessary, but I want it to be like dark and like evil when that's necessary.
Yeah, don't make it like Tim Burton-y where like all the trees are like wacky and like everything's at a tilted angle, you know. Just like color wise, like just
have
make it
Johnny
bright,
Depp
make it
play
really
Mr. Tumnus.
Like make it I'm trying to think of like a movie example. I'm kind of coming up short, but yeah, whatever.
If you think of it,
I was trying to think of like a fantasy movie that's really bright and colorful, but I can't really think of one.
Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah,
whatever. So I'm trusting in Greta Gerwig. I mean, if they ruin it, whatever. We still got the books and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's also Netflix production, so like, I don't know, man. They kind of
they can be very much hit or miss, mostly miss.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting out the new David Fincher movie and it looks good. So it's not like, you know, if they have like a good filmmaker, they did The Irishman, you know, they can still put out good stuff.
They did Marriage
you know?
Story.
Yeah, so it's like they're still capable, but you know.
I wonder if Noah Baumbach's going to co-write the Narnia.
That'd be kind of interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he helps, honestly.
All the characters are talking over each other.
But I think it'd be fun, and I'm not really too concerned about them messing with it too much because they're going to have people who like oversee all the
I just don't want them to pull a Rings of Power. Cause
yeah, that's a little different. I feel like the rights for that got like that's like they got sold off, and like the rights for Lord of the Rings just got so like scattered. I feel like, and
sure,
and Lord of the Rings isn't like, I don't think that's like, it's a really bad show, but
Rings
I really
of Power,
think,
you mean?
I really just think Rings of Power is just like poorly written, but I wasn't like in terms of. Actually, you know what? No, it was all pretty bad. I was like, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, like
I didn't watch it, and I wasn't like watching it and angry that it was like a woke mess or anything. So it wasn't bad in that regard. I just thought it was like just really badly written, and just like none of the characters were likable. You know, it's just like a really terribly written show. You know, and like it sucks because I remember the first episode being like kind of all right, and it opens in a cool way, but. Man,
that not good.
There's no way they're making more than like 2 seasons. There's like trying to make like
that's what they're saying apparently.
It's not,
but
no one like I think like what like
no one really likes.
Didn't they say like 10% of the people that started that show finished it?
It's something like that.
It's
yeah,
like no one. It's bad. Man.
The only reason why I
watched it with Abby and we were both just like, we didn't even finish it. I was like, why is Galadriel like the most annoying character in this show? Like, what's the deal? Like, why did you make her so unlikable?
I finished it, and I just finished it watching it with.
I watched the clip of like the last
alongs.
episode where it cuts to Mordor, and it looks like Blade Runner 2049 in the orange area, and it has a text show up that says Mordor.
Yeah, we talked about that in our ring. We did an episode about Rings of Power, the House of the Dragon, and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. So you can go check that out.
Ugh.
Anyway, sorry, we talked about Narnia for a long time, but this was it was kind of a big reason why I wanted to talk about Barbie, because this was kind of adjacent to it. So we're sorry for everyone who's waiting for Oppenheimer. But the good thing is that I think I've finally learned how to put timestamps in the podcast episodes.
Ooh.
So I'm going to test that out for this episode.
All right.
So you guys can like skip ahead if you get bored about a discussion.
Nice.
I feel like most people like it when we talk about stuff.
Yeah, I think it's fun to go on like it's like still related. It's not like we're off topic, you know. So
yeah, exactly.
I like tangents. I like natural conversation.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Me too.
It's the best.
So, yeah, I guess I didn't give I don't know. I gave Barbie like a 6 out of 10 for me.
I gave it a heart. I don't do
a heart.
numbers.
You give everything a heart.
I liked it. Yeah. I mean, well, what's the last thing I didn't give a heart? I usually just like, this is gonna be another tangent, I'm sorry, but like I just, if I kind of know, I just know if I'm not gonna like something, so I won't watch it.
Wow, that's very close-minded of you.
Like if I'm just like I
Although
know
I'm
if
that
I
way
just
with people.
I just feel like if I watch a trailer, I just know if I'm gonna like something or not.
Oh, well, yeah, a trailer is kind of a big, telling point.
What's the last thing I watched that I didn't like? Hang on, I gotta find out now.
Last thing that I watched that I didn't like.
Oh yeah, The Flash. But I knew I wasn't gonna like that. The Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Oh my gosh, I did not like that movie. I'm sorry, everyone.
Tall Girl. That was I knew we was a hate watch though.
You already talked about Tall Girl.
Yeah, anything I don't have a heart on my diary right now. It's like I watched it knowing I was.
Oh my gosh.
The Whale.
Yeah,
I didn't give that a heart. I'm sorry.
I watched the Boss Baby movie.
Yeah, I saw.
They're really bad.
It's like I can't.
But I kind of went into it knowing that they were going to be bad, so
yeah,
it was kind of fun in that way. But anyways, yeah, and Narnia, we'll see what we'll see. Hopefully, if it ever comes out soon, we'll definitely do an episode.
Yeah. Also, for those unaware, I don't do number scores, but if a movie I think is like
perfect,
you'll
get it.
If it's like something
stars.
I could think is like a favorite movie of mine or something that just blows my mind. Like I'll still do 5 stars for movies that I'm like, oh man, that's a 5-star, but that's the only time I do numbers.
Yeah.
And anything else is a heart, which is just like I liked it and
it still annoys me, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't like numbers, man.
I just like it because I want to know how much you like it.
Let me rephrase that. I don't like numbers for myself. I don't mind like seeing other people use numbers. Like that's chill.
I know, but for you, I value your movie opinion. So it's like, well, you liked it, but how much did you like it?
Yeah.
Like, was it like a 6 out of 10 or was it closer to a 9 out of 10?
I feel like if I gave like something a 6 out of 10 though, like before for me, that would have been like, I liked it. I thought it was good. But some people might be like, oh man, you didn't really like it that much. And I just feel like it was just like annoying. And like everyone has their definition of what a number means. And I feel
that's when you just don't care about what people say.
Yeah. But then it's like, you have to, and then it's like I'll give a movie, like a certain movie a 7 and then something else a 6, and then people be like, oh my god, why did you like that movie so much more than the other one? And it's like, it didn't really, I don't know. It's contextual too. It's like, wow, it's really good for this kind of movie, but there might be like a 3-star movie that I would rather watch than like a 4-star movie sometimes. It's felt like it got really like annoying and just redundant for like how my brain works. So
yeah,
I just, and I also think
bro.
I also think it causes more interesting discussion. I think of like IGN reviews and stuff, and people will skip the review and go to the number. But for me, it's like if people see I liked it or not, and they want to have more explanation or understanding of why or how much, then I get to talk to someone about it, and they don't just get to see a number and like not engage with it any further than that.
It's not true.
I think it causes more meaningful engagement. For me, at least, like when people are like, "Oh, you liked it? What'd you think about it?" and then I can dive into it more, and it's not really like, "How much did you like it on this scale?"
Well,
it's
fine.
Like,
that's just
they just kind of learn how much I liked it in context of that movie.
It's just what I'm gonna comment on every review of yours.
Yeah.
So what did you like about it? Tell me. Don't just give a meme review.
Yeah, I just this is just my opinion for myself, but I got so wound up in like comparing everything and like, oh man, like was Barbie better? Like, was Barbie better than Oppenheimer, or like, or is this better than that, or how good is this? I still like to do lists in like order, like end of the year lists, like stuff like that. I still enjoy, but just when it comes to like comparing things so much, like I'm just like, I just want to watch this movie and not like think of other movies. I'm just gonna like watch it and try to enjoy it for what it is. And if it reminds me of something else, maybe that'll play into it. But I just like to try and make things very like individualistic and like take them for what they are, and not worry too much about like what it's supposed to be, or something that does what it does better or something. I just feel like it works better for me.
Well,
it's made I don't know. I just feel like it's made watching movies and playing games and listening to music more like special to me. Like I think I saw someone make this comment. Sorry, I'm going on such a tangent. I saw someone make this comment yesterday, and they said, man, a bad PlayStation 2 game that has some good stuff in it is such a comfy vibe. And I was like, man, I love that. That's so good.
A bad video game that has good stuff in it.
Like it's like, yeah, the game's pretty mid, but it has some really like charming stuff in it. It's like, yeah, it's not a great game, but it's like charming. You know what I mean? Like you hear that and you think of the binary of like, oh, so it's a bad game, but it's like, no, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, like the SpongeBob game on PS2. It's like, it's not like a great game, but it's got some fun stuff.
People like that game.
It's just like, well, it's like, let's say like the movie.
If it's not unplayable, then no.
Well, yeah,
but
like I don't know, like
I guess for me it would be the Looney Tunes Sheep Raider.
Yeah,
game.
just like a random, like a movie tie-in game that's like not that special, but it's got some fun stuff, and you find stuff to appreciate, like kind of just very like weirdly mediocre things that have bits of like something that's special, and it's got a vibe to it, you know, like a bad PlayStation 2 game that has good stuff in it, and you know what that is? That's playing really cheap movie tie-in games as a kid, like that kind of vibe. It's like, yeah, it's got some good stuff in it. It's bad, but it's got some good stuff. You know, I love that. It's such a vibe, and I feel like because I'm not thinking about it on a scale or comparing it to other things, I'm just taking it for what it is. You know, it's like it's Shrek 2 the game.
Dude, that's so beach
jumping
bum of you.
Jumping in, it's fun, man. I love jumping in that game. It's got a squishy jump.
Squishy jump.
I'm not thinking about how.
That's so Matthew McConaughey beach bum of you.
I like that. I don't know. I just think it's. I passed that. I passed this like weird threshold like a year ago, and it's just,
yeah, we know you've.
I know
this has been well documented.
I could listen to the podcast and like hear my descent into just not caring. You know, I descend into not caring anymore in a way that I like.
I stopped caring years ago.
Not that I stopped respecting or appreciating, but like I stopped worrying about only enjoying the things that are the best. You know what I mean?
I guess I've been a
like
part of
sometimes it's like obviously, I mean, I don't use numbers anymore, but like sometimes like, man, a 3 out of 10 movie sometimes just hits so right. You know? Sometimes you just want to watch like Big Daddy starring Adam Sandler. You know, you just want to watch like an okay movie sometimes.
Okay, I would recommend Going Overboard with Adam Sandler.
Well, that's like a half-star movie. That's not a 3-star movie. That's like a half-star.
One
movie.
of the worst movies.
Yeah, like I wouldn't watch an unbearable movie and be like, oh, I had one line in it that was funny, so I enjoy it. But I don't know, like yeah. Like a Disney Channel movie, like, oh man, sometimes they're just really funny.
Well, yeah, those are like enjoyable. I'm
gonna get you to understand my brain someday.
I already understand it. You've talked about this.
You don't get me,
times
man.
I get you, bro, because I've been there. I've been the guy that has like bad taste in movies.
No, I'm not the guy who has bad taste in movies. I'm the guy who's just confident in what I like.
No, yeah, I'm confident, but it's like I like movies that I know a lot of other people don't, and it's like I've been okay with that for years, I guess.
Yeah, that's more of like that's more of like a, I don't know, if like you're looking at like that's more like, oh, I'm just trying to be contrite. It's more of just like not even thinking about that.
Yeah,
like, I just like this movie. It's like I don't even have to think that it's bad or other people don't. I just like it. I don't care.
Sure, yeah.
It's like I love M. Night. I'm not worried about what other people think.
Speaking of bad movies, Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Oh God.
We're in a race against the Nazis. And I know what it means if the Nazis have a bomb.
We have a 12-month head start.
18.
How could you possibly know that?
We've got one hope. All America's industrial might and scientific innovation connected here. A secret laboratory. Keep everyone there until it's done.
Let's go recruit some scientists.
Build a town, build it fast. If we don't let scientists bring their families, we'll never get the best.
Why would we go to the middle of nowhere for who knows how long?
Why? Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
You're the great improviser, but this you can't do in your head.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world? Chances are near zero. Near zero. What do you want for theory alone? Zero would be nice.
Oh, whoops.
Let's get right into
Sorry.
it. Explosion!
Explosion. It's sorry, Mr. Remote
That's fitting.
Controller. Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
It's a movie about an explosion.
That's the only point of the movie.
Yeah. That's all I got out
The
of it.
explosion. That was crazy
It's
cool.
like, wow, they really can make
I did as
bombs
soon as they did
big.
the test drop with the nuke, I just left the theater because I was like, "Well, that's what I came here for."
There's what I don't have time to watch this post-credit scene about courtroom drama or whatever.
You gotta stay after the credits to see like Einstein show up in a dark room like with JFK and George Washington, and they're gonna form like
JFK
they're gonna
George
form
Washington.
like
It's the Avengers of history.
Yeah. Anyways, we're talking about Oppenheimer now.
Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan.
Good old Chris Nolan.
Yeah,
My
he's
guy.
Best director of all time.
He
Maybe
is.
not, but a lot of people seem to think so.
We had a
And
pretty
with
nice
great
little
merit.
healthy conversation about Nolan in the parking lot after we saw it.
We did, yeah.
Just about him as a director. I guess let's just say what we thought of it real quick, and then I'll kind of recap that comment because I thought it was good. But
yeah, and before we get into spoilers,
I
about
think
the atom bomb.
Yeah, did they drop it? Find out.
I don't
Did it
think
work?
they did.
It's like it's funny, it worked. Like but it's like you're still like, oh my god, I'm so
But
nervous.
who knows? Maybe he could have pulled a Tarantino.
Yeah, true.
and-
Changes it.
Yeah, just changes history. Like, actually, he doesn't.
And it
drop
just
the
hard
bomb.
cuts to America with like a rainbow over it, and it's like,
It's-
and all was well.
Yeah, there's just a scene where Cillian Murphy, just before they do the test drop, he runs into the room and then he pulls the plug and he's like, "No, this is not gonna happen.
Stop the presses.
Stop the presses. I will not make your bomb."
Man.
And then everyone clapped.
The end. And then Albert Einstein died.
And
Just has a heart attack and dies.
Like, no.
But
I wanted it to happen.
But real talk, we've had a lot more time for this movie to settle in since we've seen it. It's been a couple weeks at this point in an
Yeah,
extra.
and I saw it for a second time with
Yeah.
you at the theater. So
in my opinion, it hasn't changed at all. I've basically just solidified into what my initial impression was, and I just really liked it a lot.
I really did
I
too.
think I don't know if it's my favorite yet. I want to rewatch The Prestige because I still think The Prestige
That's a good one.
is my favorite.
Really good one.
That's always been my favorite Nolan movie. I adore that movie, but I felt like I almost liked this more.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do, but I do think it's like a better movie. I want to rewatch The Prestige, but this feels like a really big achievement for him, and it just feels like a really special movie. In terms of like the filmmaking and stuff, and just that we have someone like Nolan that can make a movie like this and do filmmaking the way he does,
Nolan.
and that's like makes $1 billion.
Yeah.
Or however much it made it. It's now his highest grossing non-Batman movie, which is crazy
That is
because
crazy.
Inception exists.
There's Inception.
That movie
there
was huge.
Interstellar.
This is bigger. This is technically bigger than Interception and Interstellar now.
Interception.
Sorry, I still have a cold. I'm a little
Interception
loopy.
and Interstellar.
Yeah,
Your cold
Interception
just
and
hinders the way
Interstellar.
that you can pronounce words.
And now
you're all psyched out. Interception and Interstellar.
God, yeah, I'm
Say
out
it
of
right.
it. I have a lot of snot in my brain, but
in Dark Knight.
Yeah, in Dark Knight. But yeah, I thought it was
Batman
fantastic, and I don't think I've. Here's the thing that you hear: it's like, all right, it's a biopic about the guy who made the atom bomb. All right, it seems like a really obvious movie
Robert
to
Oppenheimer.
make. And I remember when the trailers for this movie were coming out, and I was like, this feels like something that Nolan was like born to make. I don't know why. It just seems like something that he like It's like, yeah, he was meant to make this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like his whole career was kind of like pointed to this. Not to say that I'm not claiming whether it's his best film or not, but it's like it feels like Nolan just this whole time is just like, yes, this is what I've wanted to do forever.
I've never seen a movie with like this kind of structure, this kind of pacing. Because I was telling you in the parking lot, I felt like this movie was just rising action to climax, and then even when the movie technically has its climax at the atom bomb, like the test, that's like the big moment in the movie, it still just like keeps going, you know. And maybe you can say that's sort of like has falling action a bit and like chills out, but it still just feels like it keeps going until the very end, like even with all
which is great because it could be easy to get into that pitfall that like, you know, once they have the test explosion, it's like, oh, and then you know they actually drop the bomb. It's like, oh, what's left after that? You know, it could have easily been like really boring, but he does a great job at like keeping you invested in what's going on.
I remember I was making the metaphor with you about how I felt like the movie itself, the structure of the movie felt like it was mimicking the science of an atom bomb.
I did.
And I only know this because the movie explains to me how it works. My dad called me and like asked if I'd seen it, and we talked about it a bit, and he was like, I felt really smart watching it. You know?
I still didn't. I hear them talking, and I'm like, I still don't really understand, but that's okay.
Yeah, but it was like just how they were explaining how everything worked, and I'm like, okay, so the movie's like so scattered. It's like, all right, him in college, him being a teacher, it's like the timeline of everything is so like, it's like, all right, this is happening now, this is happening now, this is happening now, there's this character, now we're going back to this character, now we're going back to this character.
Yeah, it's very fast-paced.
Very, very fast-paced and hardly ever lets down. There's almost always
barely
music.
A dull moment, honestly.
The music is always driving the movie, and I've heard people say they don't like how much music there is in the movie, but it worked for me. Like, I really liked how, like, centric the use of score is in driving this movie forward. Someone's like, oh, I just wish there'd be like 10 minutes of like no music and it's just like quiet. And I'm like, but no, that would like kind of break the pace. I feel like if you just slow down and you just
there were moments where there literally is no score, and I feel like because there's so much music in the whole movie, it makes those moments like kind of stand out in a way.
When it needs you to really like, I feel like it smartly uses, it takes away music during like the right time, but it really isn't ever quiet for long, you know?
Yeah.
But the way the movie, it's so scattered, but it keeps going back to this like core of the movie is like the black and white scenes, and there's like this core of the story of this movie, and all of these scattered parts that lead to it are just like honing into it, and by the time you get to the end of the movie, it's like all condensed into this one part. And even at the end when he's in the meeting room and the visuals look like the bomb is going off and like everything gets really like overblown in light and stuff, and it's like that's like the moment where the structure of the movie condenses and like the bomb of the story goes off essentially.
And I do like that analogy,
and it's just really cool. And I don't know, I don't know, that might have been the intent. I don't know if I'm being pretentious and looking too much into how it was structured, but I felt like the movie was structured to emulate like how the bomb itself worked, and the narrative itself is like this bomb that you're waiting to like condense into this one thing and just wait for it to go off. But I thought it was awesome. I thought the music was amazing. Every performance was great. I almost laughed when Josh Peck showed up for 1 second, and then you don't see him again for like another hour.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, is that like the whole cast is stacked. And you know, some actors get more screen time than others, but then there's like some actors that are like very recognizable and like maybe my personal favorites, and then like Rami Malek, for instance.
But he's filmed like he's an extra.
Yeah. For like the for so much of the movie, any scene that he's in, he like says nothing. He's just like there, and then finally, like at the end, he just like, pun intended or not, drops the bomb. You know, at the courtroom, and he's like becomes like one of the most he has like one of the most pivotal roles in the plot.
I feel like it was smart to use an actor like him that a lot of people know, and
Yeah, where it's like,
he's
oh,
very
wait, who's
identifiable. But it's like
That's
you
Freddie
kind of
Mercury.
notice him like in a lot of scenes of like
Yeah.
people talking in important conversation. So when he drops that information at the end of the movie, you're like, oh yeah, like that's why he knows everything because he was there. But if it was someone you don't visually recognize,
Yeah.
another movie would flash back to all of the scenes of him, which this movie had to do a
Right.
lot.
It's like
This
he
movie
was
had to do
important
that
the
a lot,
whole
which
time.
I actually liked. They'd mention someone's name and they'd flash like a scene of them from
That
before,
is
which
very
they have
helpful,
to do
yeah.
because it's a lot of names to keep track of. But outside of that, I mean, for Rami Malek, they used an actor like him that people would recognize because you kind of notice him. You're like, oh, that's Rami Malek, and you kind of see him throughout the movie when he's not doing anything, and when he does
Yeah.
something, you understand why he has the info he
Like,
does.
oh, so they didn't hire Rami Malek for a non-speaking role. I was waiting. It was like, when is he gonna like do something important?
Yeah.
And then he does.
But you got like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid dude. You got like
Who's he?
DeHaan. I don't remember who he was.
I never seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I just
so-
remember seeing posts of it, and it's like he's in a Nolan movie. That's so funny. But yeah, it's a kid from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Diary of a Wimpy
Josh
Kid.
Peck.
Josh Peck. It's like very strange. You have like all these actors I feel like younger generations would recognize a lot more, and then obviously you have like Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, like a lot of just very big stars that everyone recognizes.
But a lot
Robert,
of people that I feel like only people like you and me would recognize, like Ben Safdie.
Yeah.
Like he's not that well known, but you and I know him because he's like he's become a very
I feel like more people would
prolific
recognize him
director.
at this point, but he's not like everyone knows him, you know?
Right,
But he does a really good Russian accent.
He does. He does it very well.
Very
like,
convincing.
Kind of makes me wonder if he's like gonna take a break from filmmaking. I hope not. I want him to make more movies with his
same.
brother, but apparently they've kind of broken up. They've kind of pulled a Coen brothers.
Yeah, I've heard stuff like maybe
temporarily.
they're gonna try. I don't know. I don't think it's anything dramatic, but
Yeah, I mean, even the Coen brothers, they're like, we just want to make movies on our own.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're already back together working on something. So,
also Robert Downey Jr. is probably the best performance I've seen since Zodiac.
I would really like him to win an Oscar.
He was
for this
amazing.
one.
Yeah. It was so refreshing to see him not act like Tony Stark,
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I mean, there was a Doolittle movie. He just probably acted quirky. Like he's always just
Or like Sherlock Holmes.
I just feel like or Sherlock Holmes. He's just always had a very specific character he played ever since he was cast as Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it was nice to just see him be a really serious, like dramatic actor for something.
Yeah, and
because
he does.
he's really good, and we've always known he's good. I mean, he was great as Tony Stark. It's not a knock against that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, he
it was
literally
just-
took that role as his own.
Yeah, it was just nice to see him flex certain acting muscles again, and even he was like, I was like, I had to like felt rusty after playing Iron Man for so long, And,
Yeah. I mean, that's
so-
why we didn't see him in anything for so long.
Yeah, it was like all he did. So it's exciting to see him do something like that.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to
obviously, Cillian Murphy is just insane.
Yeah, I feel like
he's-
he'll probably get an Oscar.
He's amazing. Emily Blunt was great. I mean,
Emily
she's always
Blunt.
great. But
Yeah. Florence Pugh.
So everyone was good in this. Like Josh Peck was even good, and he didn't do much. But like,
Yeah.
man, Nolan knew how to direct him. He knew how to give really good expressions, and the scene where he's like gets to push the button for the bomb and all that. Like, even Dane DeHaan, it's like
Yeah, I
he
was
had a
gonna say,
simple
even Dane
role,
DeHaan,
but
he
like
doesn't, like,
the
stand
casting
out.
director the casting was perfect for even the minor roles.
Yeah, see, like Dane DeHaan, like
he's just always been miscast.
Yeah, like
He's not a bad actor.
Don't put him. Don't have him be your sci-fi action hero.
Yeah,
and whatever.
Or Harry Osborn.
Harry Osborn, yeah, but like he was in the HBO miniseries The Staircase, and he was good in that, and he's good in Chronicle too, even though I haven't seen that in ages. So like, you have the right director, and they have the right role for him, then yeah, he's good. Also, shout out to Jack Quaid as well.
Oh yeah,
from The Boys.
Yep.
I didn't know this until recently. He's the son of Dennis Quaid.
Oh, that makes
the
sense.
actor.
Yeah.
like, duh. I just didn't realize that until
I didn't know that. Yeah, that makes sense.
I recently heard an interview with Dennis Quaid. He's like, "Oh yeah, my son Jack,
My boy,
my boy." But yeah, Florence Pugh is great. She's my crush.
Yeah, she's always good in like anything.
Casey Affleck. Affleck, he was like, when he came on, that was like, I like kind of laughed inside. That was the moment where I was like, man, all these actors that I recognize.
I didn't know how, like, there was
up.
some I didn't know were going to be in it, you know?
It's also funny to think that his character apparently is like this notorious, like ruthless kind of general who like, he like there's a scene where he wanted to take this one prisoner out to a boat and interrogate him and then just kill him out.
Oh my
there.
God, yeah.
Like you don't really get that from his performance, but
Yeah.
I guess that's like kind of the point.
Exactly, yeah.
Like because Oppenheimer's not really supposed to know that.
Yeah.
Just from his one interaction with him. So I thought that was funny. Trying to think, I feel like there are other people. Oh yeah, Alex Wolff too.
Yeah.
Which I'm normally not a big fan of, but like he was fine in it too. I think that's about it in terms of like it's just such a
It's just like a monumental movie in terms of casting direction, how actors were utilized, the structure, how music was utilized, the practicality of everything, like the weird space like scientific-y visual effects transitions, and like everything was just completely practical, and sound design especially, like during the test, how everything was quiet and you only hear like the ruffling of clothes or when he's giving his speech, and just sound design
great.
and visual direction, and how they are able to employ the emotions of Oppenheimer and what he's feeling and thinking just through visual keys and not having it explained. Like I feel like nothing in the movie is like told to you like you're dumb. Like there is so much information in this movie, so many people, so much science, so many politics.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of it's obviously just a lot of people talking, and there's 3 hours of it.
At my first viewing, I did feel maybe just a little tiny bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But not too much, but like a second rewatch definitely like makes it worth it.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah, it's just insane that they fit that. Like it didn't feel long at all to me.
Yeah.
There was only one point where I was like, I thought, how much longer is this? Because after they do the test drop and then it keeps going, and I'm like, man, I wonder like what else is gonna happen. Like how much longer is left in this? Like was that only the halfway point? I kind of like had that thought at one point, but it wasn't really out of impatience or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how like a couple of the like most pivotal scenes and the ones that everyone's like gonna think about, how really they're just like really silent. Even though it's a movie about an atom bomb, like literally the test of the atom bomb, like the first initial drop, it's like so quiet.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Part of me was like, are they just not even going to have an explosion sound at all?
Yeah.
I almost would have thought, part of me was almost hoping that would be the case, because that's kind of cool. It's like you wait for the big crazy moment and then you don't even hear it, you just see it.
Right.
And part of me, I like that they let it stay as quiet as long though. And I do, I'm not saying I would have thought that. I think that would be better.
Guess
I actually like when the explosion sound hit, it like jolted me and I was like, oh my God. Like, it's cool.
And I guess that's like more, which, shout out honestly to the sound design. I loved how they like made explosions realistic.
Yeah.
Like, because whenever they were like testing bombs, there was always that like split second of a delay.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's more realistic than
that's
like,
how it
usually is in movies, where it's just like you see the explosion and instantly, you know. But in this movie, it's like, no, sound travels,
Yeah.
And I guess that's why you have those,
and I mean, they
like,
did real explosions for the movies, so they probably like tracked how the sound actually traveled too. I don't know.
Maybe
if they recorded the actual explosion sounds.
That would be very difficult to do, I feel like.
They probably didn't go like that far, but I know the explosion, like they actually did blow stuff up, you know, like they actually recorded real explosions.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there was the whole thing like, oh, he actually dropped a real nuke for the movie, and I'm like, it was probably like a small scale thing that they just made look big. Like I doubt it is that practical that they actually let him drop a real atom bomb,
right?
Because that was like the article. It was like he dropped a real nuke, and it's like, did
wait,
he
really?
though?
People were like actually.
There was an article that they like let him drop a real nuke or something, and I'm like, he probably got to drop a really small scale version. I don't know what exists out there in terms of that, but
it's okay.
But yeah, it was still like just a small scale something that they filmed, and then obviously made it seem like it was bigger than it is.
Yeah, but I did love, there was this one video on Instagram from this guy, I can't remember his name, so sorry, but like basically is like how Christopher Nolan filmed Oppenheimer, and it's him like talking to the guy helping him make the movie. He's like, okay, so we're working on the CGI, and he's like, excuse me, what? CGI? He's like, yeah, like for the bomb. He's like, we're not going to use CGI for this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, we're going to use a real atom bomb. Like, really? What? Where are we even going to, like, drop it? And he's like, where did it happen? Like, where's this movie taking place? He's like, no. We're not we're not gonna drop the bomb on where was it? I forget. Where did they drop the bomb?
It was in New Mexico, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically that was the joke, is that he was gonna drop it again.
Yeah, just
there. He's like, but get out of my office.
Like there's like a village there now. Don't care. It has to be accurate.
No, I don't care. They're giving me money to do this, and they don't care.
It's just wild to me that we have a filmmaker like him still that is so adamant about practicality and he's a filmmaker, and his movies are like him as a filmmaker and his movies is a thing that's very appealable to a general public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it makes me wonder, like, how come it's like only him? There's like him, Tarantino, there's a couple like filmmakers but then
and all these other superhero movies.
It's like,
whatever,
why doesn't that encourage other really big directors to become like as big as them, and
it's I don't know. I think
why do other big Hollywood things like not realize that that's a very appealable thing to people? And
I don't know if it's like cheaper to just like have everything be CGI or what.
I think it is because animators just don't really get paid or treated
that's true.
that well.
Yeah,
so
that's
they get away with it.
Yeah, is that like studios are just like, no, we're not going to.
And
pay
practical
money
stuff,
for, like,
if you mess it up,
design.
it's like you wasted all that money if you ruin it. Like the Lord of the Rings, the Helm's Deep battle, when they blew up the wall, they had one shot to film that wall blowing up, or else they would have to redo it all.
Yeah,
it's like with CGI, you can just undo it. It's safer.
Right,
that's a thing. But it's exciting for movies to take risks.
I mean,
it's even a big thing with the Mission
it.
Impossible movies, like the crazy practical stunts that are like insane, and he really did that.
Like the freaking like one of the most successful movies of recent time, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it's like the point. Like I think there's a bit of a research. Even Barbie, that was a big aspect of it. Like people loved the practical sets and it wasn't like Mandalorian, the weird green screen, which is like cool and all. Like it looked good in the first season, but like I think people, at least in a general public sense, it feels like people are kind of appreciating that more than usual lately.
I hope so.
I don't know. I feel like people got
studios...
so. I think. I'm not like a Marvel contrarian. I'm not like, oh, Marvel's the worst thing ever. Like, there's a lot of it I enjoy. I loved like the new Guardians too and stuff. But like the new like stuff like the new Ant-Man movie, like the new Marvels movie, the new whatever. They all just look so cheap and bad, and all the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah,
they all just visually look really bad, and I think people are kind of starting to notice. Even like a lot of the like Star Wars shows and stuff. I just think people notice how bad a lot of it looks, and now seeing stuff like Barbie and Oppenheimer and Top Gun and the new Mission Impossible, or even like John Wick, like people love those because they're real practical stunts that are just filmed well.
Yeah, or maybe not because of that, but it's like maybe it's more of a subconscious thing.
Yeah,
that people sense that this looks real, and maybe they're not thinking about whether it's CGI or not.
That's the thing. I don't think a lot of people realize that or think about that. I think they just see it and it engages them as something that is more exciting and more intense, and they don't really know why, and they're just like, oh, just because it's John Wick, so it's exciting. But it's like, well,
Yeah.
John Wick is exciting to people because it's directed by a stuntman. You
Yeah.
know,
But,
who
you
knows
know,
how to film that stuff. And I do think a lot of popular movies right now are kind of things that are more well made in that regard, which is kind of cool.
Oh, sure.
I hope it's a trend that keeps going.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You
And I
know?
think it's also just the fact that like Oppenheimer it's a very compelling story, and
I mean it's a story
written
literally
well, and it's
everyone
performed-
like knows or is kind of aware of.
Right, yeah.
There's a ton of details in this I didn't know about, but everyone knows about. Oh yeah, the atom bomb. That's a big deal. World War II, like duh.
Yeah.
But it's like not really a war movie. You never see a battlefield, and I like that.
Yeah,
They never
yeah.
show a battlefield. They don't show Hiroshima or Nagasaki getting bombed. It's like you see.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, you only see the test drop. But
Yeah.
I love that you never see like war because it's just so obviously it's about Oppenheimer. You know, he wasn't
Right.
there. It's not trying to manipulate you to feel like one way about what he did. It's just you're with Oppenheimer through the story.
And maybe that's the
you know?
point, because like Oppenheimer, you know, there's his whole conflict with you know, whether this is a moral and ethical thing to do.
It was like
to
this
make
scene,
this bomb.
yeah,
and it makes sense because like he is so detached from what's actually going on in the real world,
and obviously
and that's why he can justify it.
And I didn't know he was Jewish, so like having that kind of like motivation behind it too is interesting. But it's like, it's, you know, I've seen certain observations about the movie saying it didn't focus on like parts of the war, certain aspects of the war enough, or it focused on like Oppenheimer and America too much. But it's like it's about how it impacted like America. It's like a very certain perspective and
how it impacted one person.
Yeah,
too.
and we gauge through Oppenheimer as a character in this movie how it's going to affect everyone else, you know, and it's about knowing what it was like for something like this to come about, in the fear of like what is it going to do, and then realizing we're in a world where that happened a long time ago and everyone has access to this thing now. You know, it's like the crazy part of it is like watching this happen and being like, oh yeah, like every country has like this thing now, you know. Like, but seeing the origin and the cause of it and like what people were thinking the world was going to be like afterwards, and then being like, well, we're in the world, we know what it's like now, and it's just, it's wild. It's just, and the execution of it is very important, because another director could have done this and just made it very schlocky and like on the nose and very obvious, and I would have walked away from it feeling like I already knew everything about, I already know this message, I already feel that way, or I already know like how people feel about this thing or that thing. But with this movie, I felt like I learned a lot, and I felt like it provided a really interesting, maybe not like a brand new perspective, like, whoa, I had no idea the atom bomb was going to be like crazy controversial. But being able to walk away from a movie like that and feel like I learned something, and just have this really engaging perspective, and just feel like I learned a lot, especially about the politics of at the time too. You know, it's fascinating, and I loved how it was done.
Yeah, and
it felt very like honest and like just, I don't know. I can totally see this movie being made by someone else, and it's just completely like, maybe on paper it's like the same story plays out, but the way it's shown, the writing of it would just like completely make it so uninteresting.
I mean,
you know?
And that was something
or obvious, which is even worse.
Right?
usually.
Yeah, like you said, on the nose, and that was something that I was worried about. Was that like, it's like, is this movie going to come off as like totally completely like anti-war, and like, look at all these evil people and what they did, and just very one-sided? But I felt like it came off like really, really well balanced, and like very like the reaction to the movie has been very like non-controversial.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's
hasn't
fascinating
been divided
to
or
me.
anything.
That's what's fascinating to me. It's like like compared to it's like Barbie was the controversial one, but like but Oppenheimer the one about really the nuclear bomb, the one about the nuclear bomb and like communism and really intense politics of like America in the 40s was like not really controversial because
it comes off very balanced.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Nolan was making the movie just because he
wasn't making a statement.
He wasn't like I'm gonna like make a personal like high ground statement and like point fingers and like wag my finger at people and act all high and mighty. It's just a story that the nuance and details of it are apparently not known by a lot of people, and it felt like it was a story he really wanted to tell a certain way because no one else has done it.
That way. Because when it comes to like the subject of the dropping of the nuclear bomb and the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you have people on one side that think that never should have happened, we never should have done that, and then we have people on the other side that are like, no, it was necessary. But in the end, I think the movie does a good job at communicating something that everyone can agree on, is that either way it sucked. It sucked that it happened, and it affected a lot of people. And and we're paying the consequences for it since then. So,
it's not just it's not a total one-sided, like desperately trying to be, I don't know, what's the term I'm looking for?
Like a statement? Or...
Hang on, I'm having a brain fart. You can cut this out.
Okay. I'll just cut your whole part of this podcast out.
Okay.
I'll just talk with myself.
Yeah. Totally lost my train of thought.
We're talking about how like it doesn't come off as like
it just doesn't feel like he wanted to make it as like a virtue signal,
Right,
Like, look how it's like, you can make a movie and I can maybe technically agree with the points, but if it's told in a way that feels like really preachy, it just like rubs me the wrong way, even if it's something I agree with.
Yeah.
So I just like that it doesn't feel like a preachy movie, that's the aspect of it. It feels more like educational and more like, hey, this is, and obviously like it's not trying to come across as all of this actually happened, like one for one. In fact, he even said the black and white stuff is supposed to be more of the real, like this is what probably really, like this is more of a factual retelling, and the colored stuff is more like, it's more loose, I guess. I can't remember how he worded it, but it's just good.
Like
I feel like it opens up people to conversation about that more healthily than it would have if the movie was just like it hard cuts to showing all of like the innocent people like being bombed, and it's like, look how horrible this is, and it's like, well, I know it's horrible, but or it could have gone the other way and like shown how, not hardly shown that, but then just cut to, we won the war and we saved everyone thanks to this amazing invention. What a hero, It's not obvious. It's not so shallow as to pretend that one of those messages is like the complete truth.
Right. Yeah. It's more like,
because it's complicated. And I think that's the point of the movie, is that this thing that we made, I mean, there's obviously the mythology they're referred to.
Oh yeah, with
what's his name?
Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus.
Which is funny because Cillian Murphy was in the movie Prometheus.
Oh yeah, he was. But yeah, there's like obviously the reference to that, and it's like it's more just how like we made this and we can't take it out of this world now that we've brought it in. And
it's like whether you're like anti-war or not, or anti-nuclear bomb or not, you can't get away from the fact that like this is
the world heavy. We live in now, and
it's dark.
It's scary.
You have to accept that.
Yeah.
So I think it really does a great job at like portraying the weight of the whole situation.
Yeah.
And I guess, we just see it clearly through Oppenheimer's character and through Cillian Murphy's. performance.
Yeah, because you do have to wonder, like, what is it like to be the person that essentially is responsible for something like that coming into the world, and having to think for the rest of your life, what is this going to mean for like the planet and
it's
other
honestly,
governments, and
it's kind of surprising that Oppenheimer never like killed himself or anything.
It's like, how old was he? Like, how long did he live?
A while. I don't know. Let's ask our good friend Siri.
Yeah, it's just an
how
insane
old was
story.
Oppenheimer when he died?
J. Robert Oppenheimer died the 18th of February, 1967 at age 62 in Princeton.
Yeah, okay.
I guess he wasn't that old.
I guess that's kind of normal for like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I guess so.
We live longer now, but
that's true.
I mean, he also probably cut 20 years off his life with stress during that time.
Oh,
I'm sure,
yeah,
so.
for sure.
But yeah, it's an amazing movie. I think they take such an intense and very like almost like dehumanizing event in our history, one that impacted the entire world, and they make the message of it almost like universal in a way. Like, I feel like anyone can watch this and understand like the weight of what happened and the importance of it and the danger of it. And I never felt like I saw anyone trying to say this movie was like super politically one way or the other. Everyone was just like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this movie really achieves is, you know, it's not really about that. It's just about, you know, how it impacted humanity just in general. You know? Not
it's about one man.
Not who was bad or good. I mean, obviously there's aspects of that within it, but for the specific story, you know, it's like
it's about one man.
It's like we can all there's something within this story we can all agree on, you know, and that it's scary and just and that
really,
the world would probably be better without
a
it.
Movie.
Yeah.
I had a friend, shout out to my friend Corey if he's listening, because he's become a fan of the show.
Hi, Corey.
But he was like, he had not seen Oppenheimer yet, and he's like, I heard that it was like a horror movie, or it was like, no, not really. I mean,
it's like,
I guess
thrilling. I guess it's like
thrilling, and I guess
emotionally.
There are moments of the movie that are like horrific.
Maybe the part when he's giving the speech and he's like seeing the dead bodies, like that's creepy.
That's pretty
but
scary.
I wouldn't call it like a horror movie.
I got scared.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. I just thought that was funny, and I wanted to tease my friend Corey. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to. In terms of like in the context of Nolan films, I mean, I will say that like when Tenet came around, I was kind of getting to the point where I was like getting a little Nolan fatigued, sorta.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I say Nolan fatigue, even though he comes out with a movie like every couple of years.
Yeah, not in the sense of like, it sucks, but like, I feel like there was Dunkirk and then there was Tenet, and he doesn't release movies very often, so you get these two, and I think they're both really good, but they don't ring to me as like, well, these are masterpieces of film. And I know there's some people that like love Tenet.
Yeah.
And I want to rewatch it again because I'm curious. It's a very interesting, unique movie to me, but I don't love it really. But I think it's good. I think it's really good.
There's a version uploaded on YouTube of it's Tenet but reversed. So you watch the whole movie in reverse.
Of course.
I was like, I should maybe watch that sometime.
As it was meant to be.
Yeah, one person commented on it. Is like, so all I gotta really do is just like download this and then put it in reverse, and then I just have a free copy of Tenet.
I mean, everyone always says like, I always heard people say, yeah, you watch it, and if the second time you watch it, like something really clicks with it.
That's kind of the feeling that
I guess there's like this, there's like a loop with
time.
it or something. I don't know. It's almost intended to be watched twice.
Yeah,
was how a lot of people say it. But
yeah, I'm more like appreciated Tenet rather than like actually like got a whole.
Yeah,
lot
that was like a
filmmaking
show off kind of thing, and Dunkirk was good, but it was a World War I movie. You know, it was really good and it was unique for a World War movie, but
it's World War 2, I think.
Oh, is it 2? I don't know why I said 1.
1917 is World War 1, and
that
came out like around the same time.
That's probably why I thought that.
I really, really enjoy Dunkirk, but it's not like my favorite. And
it's just like a well-made war movie. Like it isn't. Yeah, it rings as just like a war movie
with a Nolan twist. Because of course, even with Oppenheimer, he can't make a movie with like a normal timeline.
Yeah,
he has to have like flashbacks or whatever.
I just feel like Oppenheimer feels more like his pre-Batman stuff.
Yeah,
like the Prestige and all that. Maybe
Prestige.
Even, I don't know, but
Inception is still good. Interstellar, I haven't watched in a long time.
I would like to watch it again, but I've only seen it once in theaters, and I liked it. But I remember the weird trippy universe bookshelf stuff not really working for me. But I don't know. Maybe I would think it's super cool now.
Yeah, I just didn't really feel the draw to like go back to it, but
that's also a lot of people's favorite Nolan. I feel like almost every movie. I don't know. I don't see a lot of people say it about Dunkirk, but I feel like almost any Nolan movie aside from that, and maybe like Dark Knight Rises, I see a lot of people say is their favorite.
Yeah.
And I was kind of talking to you about it. Like, I don't know if I would say Nolan's like one of my favorite directors. I certainly get excited when he announces a new movie.
Yeah,
sure.
It's like I'm definitely.
It's an event.
See it.
It's like an event when he makes a new movie, you know.
And he's one of the few directors these days that like draws in like the amount of people that he does just because it's a movie he made.
Yeah, exactly. Like anyone will see anything that he makes, which is super cool. Yeah, because there's not a lot of directors that have as much pull as him that really do that anymore.
Yeah.
I was just talking to you about how, like, I wonder if I'm not saying he's Stanley Kubrick. Let me just preface it with that. But I was saying how
Stanley Kubrick.
A lot of people who are super into film and stuff, they get really into a lot of the classics like George Orwell and Stanley Kubrick and stuff. And it's like, man, I wonder what it was like to.
Wait, did you say George Orwell?
Oh, wait, yeah, why did I say that?
The writer of 1984?
No, yeah, oh my gosh.
It's my favorite director.
I meant to say, oh my God, who did I meant to say? Who did I mean?
I don't know.
Hang
who
on.
You meant to say?
Wait.
George Lucas?
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
George Orwell, Orson Welles, whatever.
Yeah, George Orson Welles.
Yeah, you can. My brain is off. All right, Orson Welles. People like Orson Welles, Stanley Kubrick, like wondering what it was like to be like around our like adults, like going to the theater to see a new Stanley Kubrick movie, like kind of wondering what the vibe of it was like. How did people talk about Kubrick? And I feel like Nolan now, he's kind of in that status, and by the time like 50 years from now, when like Nolan or however long from now when Nolan's passed away, his filmography is going to live on in a similar way to people like Kubrick, and I just feel like, I don't know, 100 years from now when people are talking about really important directors, iconic directors, you're obviously going to have the people I mentioned, but I think someone like Nolan would be very included in that, and even people like Tarantino. And it just feels like he's one of the last directors that is that big ever. I feel like he's one of the last remaining directors in the modern time that just pulls people based off his name. Because like we have a lot of indie directors that pull a good amount of people.
Yeah,
but
you have like your Wes Andersons and Paul Thomas Andersons, but they're not like, and like they're not like household names.
And people, even like Greta Gerwig, like people really like her, but that Barbie wouldn't have made $1 billion if it wasn't Barbie. You know, that was a pull because of Barbie.
I think it was a combination.
It was escalated because of Greta Gerwig, but Greta Gerwig, if she had just made like a very similar movie, but it wasn't Barbie, it wouldn't have like been that huge.
Yeah. I think it was a combination of it being, it's a known IP, Barbie. It's directed by
like
Greta
people
Gerwig,
are aware of her,
but also the star power. Yeah. Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. That's definitely gonna.
And there's movies that make money because like actors are in it and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, MCU is hardly made up of people hardly ever see an MCU movie for a director. Unless it's like, oh yeah, Taika Waititi, but like no one likes him anymore.
Right.
But but yeah, I just feel like Nolan Tarantino, and there's probably a couple others that I'm not thinking of. Is one of the last.
Those are like the big two ones. I guess Scorsese.
Oh yeah, Scorsese for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't mention him. Absolutely, Scorsese.
Maybe the Coen brothers, but they're still kind of a little bit more.
But yeah, it's like Scorsese and Nolan and like Tarantino. It feels like there's so few directors that no matter what they make, people will see it.
Yeah.
And it'll make a lot of money and do really well.
Yeah.
You know?
Greta Gerwig maybe has potential to be up there pretty soon, especially because
I would
of Barbie.
hope so. Yeah, I think Barbie's going to put her on the map, and I'm really excited to see like if she ends up
with
like where
Narnia
her career
movies.
ends up going, you know?
Yeah.
Not to get all feminist 101 on you, but we could use a woman director in the ranks of great directors that go down in history.
I
feel
don't
like
care
Greta
what
Gerwig
gender
would be
they
a good.
are. They just got.
I'm just saying it'd be nice. It'd be cool.
No, yeah,
It'd
no,
be
it's
cool.
fine. I got no problem with it.
And I feel like I'm just saying, like, I feel like if a current
I don't care what
director
genitals they
right
have.
now, it's like, you know, I think she probably could be the one to break into that and become like a huge, like, everyone in the general public will go see a Greta Gerwig movie. Maybe someday.
I mean,
you
she
know?
already has Lady Bird and Little Women, and
Yeah.
a lot of people have seen those, especially Little Women. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christopher Nolan, he's definitely made a name for himself. He's like
Yeah,
up there with like
he'll
the
be, like-
Spielbergs of the world. You know?
Yeah, Spielberg, like Scorsese, Nolan,
Yeah.
you know, Tarantino. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't mention Spielberg. That's an obvious one too.
Well, he's very obvious. He's
Yeah.
like the one director that everyone knows.
He's like the director. You know? Yeah.
He's the director.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Oppenheimer just felt like just very fresh in terms of Nolan in a way, but also just in terms of movies in general. I felt like I'd never seen something like that. It's easily maybe the best biopic I've seen ever.
Ever. Okay.
Probably. I can't really think of many movies where I'm like, oh, that's like. I don't think I have a biopic as like a favorite movie of all time.
That's true.
There's a lot of good biopics, but
I'm gonna go.
I
back
feel like
and
this is the
see.
most creatively well done one that had a really good purpose that wasn't just Spencer. Yeah, I feel like this is better. This is better than Spencer.
Even though
probably.
really?
Probably,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I like Spencer.
Oh.
I need to rewatch Spencer. I was really hyped 5-star on that one for a long time. I want to rewatch it, but I
think
I like Spencer a lot, but Oppenheimer feels way more like well made and important of a movie. You know?
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, Spencer, I would say it's up there. Spencer's up there for me for my favorites. But that's like, it's hard to call that a biopic.
Yeah, it does take a lot of
very
artistic
intentionally
liberties.
not trying to be that accurate or trying to pretend it happened for real.
Yeah, and I guess my favorite biopic would be Braveheart.
Yeah.
Even though that movie even takes its own artistic liberties, but
yeah,
you know, everyone does.
But in terms of like movies that are strictly kind of trying to tell a historical story with some accuracy,
yeah,
this is like up there, and I think it's close to topping Bohemian Rhapsody, which is the highest grossing biopic of all time, and I hope it beats it because
I hope
Bohemian
so.
Rhapsody.
Well, I mean, I guess I can't really say anything because I've never seen it, but I've never wanted to.
It's bad.
Yeah,
I thought it was fine when it came out, and then I just like.
I love Rami Malek, and I think he deserved his Oscar, but that movie's not his fault.
Yeah,
you know, it's all the directing and the editing and such.
It's just not that great.
Yeah,
not that good.
Not as good as Elvis, right?
Elvis was cool.
I don't know.
I can't believe Warner Bros. Let that movie exist.
Really? Why?
It's so weird. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
It's like
really
an insane person's movie. I like legit can't believe that was like a Warner Bros. Funded movie. It's so like just insane and stupid and crazy.
Just didn't really have a desire because it
I
just
like
kind of
it.
seemed like another Bohemian Rhapsody.
I think it's really no, not at all.
Huh.
No, no, for real though. It's not just like an Elvis biopic. It's like ridiculous how it's just made by an insane person. Baz Luhrmann, whatever his name is. I don't know.
Buzz Luhrmann?
Yeah.
Buzz Luhrmann, whatever.
He made the Romeo and Juliet movie with Leonardo DiCaprio where it's like modern time.
Oh, was that Romeo plus Juliet or whatever?
And he's an insane person in it, and everyone's like, draw your swords, and they pull out guns, and it zooms in on the gun, and in it is etched like sword or something. That's the guy who made this Elvis movie, and it's incredibly obvious. There's like a scene where Elvis is like in a church, like freaking out, and like his camera's like spinning around him, and everyone's just screaming. It's an insane. I don't like love it. I think it's good. It's just it's hilarious that is the Elvis movie now.
See, that's what I've heard about the Blondie movie, the Marilyn Monroe movie.
I just heard that one's like really.
I heard that one's just insane.
I heard that one's I would say it's insane. I didn't see it, but from what I've heard, I think it's insane for a completely different reason because it just gets like way too artsy and and dumb.
Yeah,
Elvis is just edited and made by an insane person, and Tom Hanks gives the funniest, like dumbest performance of all time. And
yeah, I was like in the trailers that I saw, I was always like, what?
Like there's seriously a sequence that like is so funny. It's like Tom Hanks's character and all these dudes are like listening to the radio, and Elvis is on the radio, and he's like, he sounds good, but like I don't know, like because like I don't know if like a colored person would do that well. And they're like, wait, sir, he's white. And then Tom Hanks turns to the camera, he's like, wait,
what?
He's white? And it like zooms in on him like really slow. And it's like
zoom in on his
it's very
whiteness.
Intentionally edited to just be like so ridiculous, and it's so funny and dumb, and it's made by an insane man.
That's
and
funny.
The whole movie is just ridiculous.
I mean,
editing.
apparently Austin Butler lost his accent because of that movie.
He was really good in it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's hilarious that it got made.
There's like a new Elvis movie that's out now. That's more about his wife. Or
it's literally called. I can't remember what's her name.
I'm
part of the problem. It's just it's like
who cares?
It's
about
like the story from
Elvis?
her perspective or something.
Right.
It's like about her.
And apparently critics like that one more, but I don't know. I really don't care.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's fine.
Anyways,
it's not made by an insane person on cocaine though, so
that sounds boring.
It's probably just more of a normal movie. Like it's just probably more of a drama.
Yeah,
I'm just assuming. I don't know. It's probably
about
fine. It's probably good.
How abusive Elvis was.
Yeah,
which I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like about specifically. I don't know if it's supposed to be Elvis was actually bad.
It's like the Tammy Faye movie.
Oh yeah,
Eyes of Tammy Faye, whatever.
Never saw that.
Me neither. Anyways, Oppenheimer biopics and Oppenheimer. We're here to talk. We're here over by Cordy to talk about what we learned today. And so, what we have learned. Sorry, it's Veggie Tales.
Oh, okay.
What did we learn, Mitchell?
I learned that movies are really good right now, and I like them.
Movies are awesome.
And
I learned that from Babylon.
There's a lot
because they had a whole. I'm not going to go into Babylon again.
I will never watch it.
Babylon told me how good movies are.
Wow.
And Oppenheimer reminded me. So, yeah. Oppenheimer, I saw... first time I saw it, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Second time I saw it, 9 out of 10.
I gave it a like.
Yeah, you just liked it.
I feel like it has potential to be my favorite Nolan movie, and my favorite Nolan movie is the only one of his I've given 5 stars, which is The Prestige.
You need to watch Memento.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
I really love that.
I think that's the only one I haven't seen at this
point. That might be my favorite.
But yeah, I could see it if I rewatched it and I was just as hype on it. I could see it being like maybe 5 stars, but at the same time, I'm like, when would I ever be in the mood to want to watch that again?
I mean, well, I watched
so
it
much.
Again,
yeah, that's true.
And I enjoyed it even more.
Probably watch it again with Abby because I know she kind of wanted to see it, but she didn't care enough to go see it in a theater.
Yeah, it's tied for my favorite movie so far this year. It's tied with Across the Spider-Verse.
Which
is crazy. I don't know. Both of those movies are very like big blockbuster type movies.
Yeah, it's my number one right now.
One of them could end up being my number one. I don't know.
This is a matter of life and death. But I can perform this miracle.
World War II would be over. Our boys would come home.
That's happening, isn't it?
The world will remember this day.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. Until somebody builds a bigger one.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Truman needs to know what's next.
2.
What's next?
1.
Yeah, let's talk about where we're at in the year so far. I kind of need to still catch up a lot, but I'll share my current list at the moment.
Let's do that real quick.
There's a lot of stuff first real quick. Let's just preface like what we're still looking forward to or stuff we need to watch.
Yeah, we always got to do our little update.
There's a lot of I've only seen 10 movies this year so far, and new releases. I've watched more than like 10 movies, but I've only seen 10 new movies that released this year.
Right.
I'm kind of slacking. I feel like there's a lot I've been missing or need to see. I want to watch Beau's Afraid still. I don't know how much I'm gonna like it, but I still want to watch it.
I'm still very curious as to.
There's a few more I know I need to see. I'm really excited for Aggro Drift that's coming out because it's Harmony Korine and he's insane.
He is also
obviously
insane.
The new Miyazaki, The Boy and the Heron's coming out this year. That could end up being my favorite.
Yeah,
that probably will be my favorite
because it's Studio Ghibli.
There's probably no
Miyazaki.
way. Yeah, it's just unfair. But I feel like Dune 2 would have come out this year, but it got delayed.
Yeah,
which sucks, but it's strike stuff, so whatever, I can wait. It's
fine. I wonder how much that's going to affect things. In terms of movies and such. It's
probably a lot.
TV.
Disney Plus, since they can't do anything and they don't have writers, they're literally reanimating a football game.
What?
In the style of Toy Story.
What?
Yeah, there was a commercial. It's like, we're reanimating the Ravens versus Packer, whatever teams it was.
What?
But yeah, they're like animating a football game in Toy Story.
What?
And putting it on Disney Plus. It's like, wow,
Wait, it's like Toy Story characters, or it's just like Pixar kind of style?
Just like Pixar style. It's weird, and I'm like, man, the writer's strike, Disney doesn't know what to do. So, last time a writer's strike happened, we got the worst stuff ever the last time a writer's strike happened, so I'm very excited to see what kind of crap we get this time. Because this time it's like way more serious, so. But yeah, that's kind of that's the state of things. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I can't remember what else is supposed to be coming out this year. Killers of the Flower Moon. Excited for that.
Hold on, let me go to my watch list and see what's coming out this year. I feel like that there's a lot that I've been excited for, but I keep forgetting. Past Lives came out. People have been talking about that a lot.
Oh yeah,
that's supposed to be pretty good, so I'm interested to see that. What's this? Cobweb?
It's like a horror movie.
Oh yeah, that's what Red Letter Media
Yeah, I heard that's
about.
probably good.
I want to check that out.
Yeah.
There's also
Saw X.
Saw X.
Heck yeah.
One ticket to Saw Patrol, please.
Oh my gosh.
Hideki Anno is coming out with a new movie.
Oh really?
If he hasn't already. It's called Shin Kamen Rider.
Oh yeah,
and it looks really bizarre.
Yeah, he directed Shin Godzilla, which is probably.
I still need to see that.
Maybe aside from the original 50s one, I think it's the best Godzilla movie. It's amazing, and I have two friends that saw Shin Kamen Rider, and they said it's amazing. And you don't really need to know anything about Kamen Rider to enjoy it. So, because Kamen Rider is like a big thing in Japan, like shows and movies and stuff. So So yeah, I heard that's supposed to be great.
Yeah,
so I'm excited for
to see that.
I love that he's still making stuff.
Yeah,
so that's exciting.
He wasn't that depressed that he stopped.
Yeah.
One movie I'm am curious about. I've never really seen anything by this director, but The Holdovers from Alexander Payne looks pretty interesting.
I think I've heard of that.
It's this movie. I've seen trailers for it. I'm like really intrigued. It's set in the 80s, but it's like filmed as if it was filmed in the 80s.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they have like all these cameras, and it doesn't seem. It's not like digital or anything. It's like they actually got those cameras to make the movie.
Okay.
You should like watch I love the trailer for it because it looks like it was a movie that came out from the 80s, and it's got Paul Giamatti. He's the only actor that I really know, but I'm really interested in it.
Nice. I want to see. I kind of want to watch Dungeons and Dragons.
That's a really fun movie.
I want to watch. I feel like I'll like it.
It's like out on streaming.
Yeah. Past Lives. I want to see. I want to see the new Mission Impossible. I'm sure it's fun. I'm not like blowing my mind over it though. I'm not even gonna bother with Indiana Jones. I want to watch Infinity Pool too.
Oh yeah, I've heard mixed things about it.
It sounds cool. I want to see it.
I'm really curious about Napoleon.
Ridley
that could
Scott
be cool. With Joaquin Phoenix. Ridley Scott has had a lot of misses lately, but it's been a while since he's worked with Joaquin Phoenix, and Joaquin Phoenix usually like carries every movie that he's in. So
I need to watch Blackberry. That's another one.
You haven't seen Blackberry?
No,
yet?
I really want to.
Oh my gosh, that's definitely a favorite of mine.
Yeah,
this year.
Someone told me they were like, it'll probably be your favorite.
Yeah,
I want to see it really bad.
It's really, really good.
I think that's it.
Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos' new movie.
Yeah, that is supposed to be cool.
That's I love Yorgos Lanthimos, even though I can't pronounce his name. I loved The Favorite. I need to return to The Lobster, and because I didn't know what I felt about it the first time I watched it, but I loved The Favorite. And
Favorite's awesome.
I'm really
and Killer,
Poor Things.
The Killer, David Fincher.
Oh yeah,
that's this year.
A lot of good ones.
Wonka.
Oh my gosh,
I don't care about Wonka. I'm not seeing it.
Wonka. Watching the trailer for that made me question whether Timothée Chalamet is a good actor or not.
He's a good actor. He just can't do whimsy.
He can't
be
Wonka.
whimsical. He's not a whimsical actor.
Yeah.
He should not be trying to do like a Wonka type performance.
Because Wonka isn't complete. He's not all whimsical. He's also like mysterious and like very, very weird.
Yeah, well, it's like I feel like he's trying to be like a young Gene Wilder or something, and it just feels really not great.
Yeah,
he's an amazing actor, but like that's just not a good. He's not like, I don't think he can be amazing in everything.
Yeah,
I don't think he should be cast in a role like that.
Yeah,
I feel like they were just like, he kind of looks like a young Gene Wilder. I guess I don't know.
I guess he's skinny and lanky.
Yeah. But
speaking of amazing, Cade, The Tortured Crossing, directed by Neil Breen.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah, me too. Although I didn't watch Twisted Pair before that, I need to watch that because apparently that's the sequel to it.
Yeah.
What else is this? Kabza. Why do I have that in my watch list? It's got like terrible ratings. Why do I want to watch this? It's like an Indian film or whatever.
I think it says it was 2022, but maybe that's when it released in like France or something. But there's
Sorry, go ahead.
But there was a movie in 2012 called Ernest and Celestine. It's a French animated movie about a bear and a mouse. They just want to be artists and hang out.
Cocaine bear?
Yeah, exactly. But it's an incredible movie. It has like a water style animation. It's gorgeous. I adore it. It's so good and cute. And I guess there's a new one. They made a sequel to it apparently.
Nice.
Letterboxd says it came out in 2022, but when I went and saw The Wind Rises in theaters, I saw a preview for it. So I'm like, maybe it only is getting like released here. I don't know if it like is a delayed release in America or whatever, but I guess I don't know if that would count as a 2023 movie then, but I want to see that as well. But yeah.
Oh, two more things I just thought of.
Yeah.
One, we were talking about this before, but Wes Anderson has like a bunch of short films that are being released on Netflix pretty soon. So, and they're all like Roald Dahl adaptations. So, I'm curious about that. And also, there's a documentary coming out called Still, and it's about Michael J. Fox.
Oh.
So I saw a trailer for that. It's going to be on Apple TV Plus, and I'm really curious about that because I've always appreciated Michael J. Fox, and I've been curious about his story because I know that he got what was it? Parkinson's? Was it Parkinson's?
Something like, I don't remember.
Where he's basically like kind of like paralyzed.
Yeah. I know it's something like really bad.
Yeah, he's been like in recovery for it, but I've never known his story with that whole thing, so I'm really curious. So, Still, directed by Davis Guggenheim. Great name. That's all I can really think of.
Yeah, same.
There was also the Star Wars holiday special documentary.
Oh, yeah.
I guess there's that.
That'd probably be kind of interesting.
A Disturbance in the Force.
Is it being put up by Disney? Or is it like someone
It was
cool
like,
who's actually going to show how awful it was?
It was like released in like some film festivals, so
okay.
I don't know.
I didn't know if that was gonna be like a Disney Plus thing and they're gonna like treat it like, oh, look how we were just.
It's not made by them. That's
Good.
for sure.
So I'm like, I want people who ever make a documentary about that to be brutally honest and be like how horrible it was.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. But yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah,
cool.
That's about it. Sorry, we went a while just talking about movies we want to see.
Well, the stuff I've seen, I'll just go over it real quick. I won't go in depth about each one, obviously, because we don't have
Better
time.
not.
But I've only seen 10 movies this year. I'll just go in descending order. I have seen.
Oh yeah, that's what we were.
I've seen
talking about
7
first.
really great movies this year and 3 horrible movies. It's not much in between right now.
No gray.
So starting from number 10, The Flash. Horrible. Number 9, Ant-Man 3. Horrible. Number 8, Mario Bros. Movie. Horrible. It's like fine for kids. It's fine. Like my nephew loves it. It's cute. I'm not offended by it, but I just found it.
Like it.
I found it incredibly. I love Mario. I'm a Nintendo freak, but I just didn't care about it. I thought it was a little grating, and it looks fine. Then Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Then Asteroid City. Then John Wick 4. I'm sorry, I know. I'm putting John Wick over the Wes Anderson movie. John Wick 4 was awesome. I don't care if I'm a normie for that.
It's okay.
Number 4 is Barbie. Number 3 is Into the Spider-Verse. Number 2 is Knock at the Cabin. Number 1 is Oppenheimer. So that's my list right now. Hopefully we'll double that list before the end of the year at least. I feel like a lot of years have been watching like 30 to 40 new releases, and this year it's like so much less. But
yeah,
it's been a video game year for me. That's like all I've done. I've not watched as many movies as I usually do the past few years.
You've been a busy boy.
But I also am in a very dedicated relationship and moved and switched jobs and had a lot of intense things. I ain't got time.
Nobody got time for that. Well, I'll just share a few of mine. I don't want to like completely spoil my end of the year list.
Yeah, mine will probably change a lot. So
yeah, I guess starting from the bottom.
Now we're here.
Beau's Afraid, even though I have complicated.
What's your least favorite
reactions? No, it's just like I'm just mentioning like the more notable.
Oh, okay.
Ones. It's not my least favorite. I'll share my least favorite later. But
if you watch Knock at the Cabin, that'll be your least favorite.
I guess I don't know. I guess I'll have to watch.
I think you'd like it. I don't know why. I don't think
I will.
I think you would like it.
I'm gonna go into it not wanting.
I understand why you didn't like Old. I think Knock at the Cabin you would at least find quality in.
We shall see.
Like message wise too.
But anyways, Beau's Afraid. I want to watch it again, just to solidify my.
I gotta watch it. I can't watch it with Abby though.
Yeah,
I just know that's like she would hate it.
It'll like. Her mind.
She just doesn't do like the artsy fartsy stuff at all, and I don't blame her at all.
And it's
I'm not gonna subject her to it.
It's also very anxiety inducing at times too.
Yeah.
So, and then I would say there's a mini series from on HBO called Love and Death with Jesse Plemons and Elizabeth Olsen that I really enjoyed, and then Blackberry, and then Asteroid City. Even though I have complicated feelings about that movie too. and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Nice.
And then Across the Spider-Verse and Oppenheimer are currently tied.
Rad.
So we'll see how I feel at the end of the year.
Speaking of Spider-Verse,
next year.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know how much longer this will extend this podcast.
What?
But I guess just as a closing topic, what's your opinion on them like patching a bunch of stuff in Spider-Verse, like post theatrical release? Have you been seeing that?
No,
they've been changing, like reanimating and like changing visual stuff for a lot of the movie, like after it released.
Huh.
And I kind of don't like it.
I heard rumors that like people were like noticing different things in their theater.
Yeah, there was like one
experience.
theater would have like a character that like it started with that, but now it's like, oh, during this scene now this is different and or this thing is removed. And there was like one scene with Spider-Punk where during his like canon event thing, they showed like a comparison, and I just felt like they like changed his look for that scene, and I just felt like it looked way worse. Like originally it was like very like lit in purple, and he was like had all this like punk goth makeup on and like lipstick, and all his piercings were like glowing, and then they changed it to like this bright orange light. He has like no makeup on, you can barely see his piercings. And it just felt like they've made it look visually a lot worse, and they just altered a lot of things. I'm like, I kind of don't like that, especially for animation. Like, why are you like your animators worked hard enough already? Like, why are you making them like change your movie?
Right?
Again?
Yeah.
Like everyone already everyone loved it. Like no one wanted you to change anything. I just feel like they're trying to like George Lucas it a bit.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm normally not a fan.
And now the theatrical version is like basically lost media for a lot of people. Like because there was like a thread of everything they changed. They like, I mean, I don't know if I would actually notice if I just rewatched it at home.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
But seeing the comparisons now, it's like I won't be able to not really think about it now, I feel.
Yeah, I would have to rewatch it and just like see how I feel, and if I probably am not gonna notice anything.
Yeah, it's like scenes, like some scenes remove like text box splashes or something. It's
if it's like so much of an egregious change that it's
I don't think it ruin. I don't think it's anything that would ruin the movie, but I don't like that as a practice. Like knowing that is like I wish I just didn't know it.
Yeah, I'm normally not a fan of quote unquote George Lucasing movies.
Yeah. Seems like they just visually changed a lot about a movie that people already like love.
It's different if it's like say, you know, Christopher. We were talking about Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Sometimes his movies are notorious for having like bad sound design.
Yeah, and then you like fix that. Which, by the way, I guess we didn't mention that. I heard that about Oppenheimer too. I didn't have a problem with it in Oppenheimer.
Me
ever,
neither.
like at all.
Yeah, but like say with like Dark Knight Rises, people complained about
that was bad. Yeah, the
Bane's voice and such. Yeah. But then they changed it for like the DVD Blu-ray.
Did you see the preview in theaters when it came out? Because I remember seeing that preview, and I was one of the people that was like, I didn't hear anything in that.
I don't remember ever having.
They definitely changed it for the release, but I remember when they showed that, and I was like, man, I couldn't like hardly understand anything.
Yeah, I don't remember having a problem when I watched when Dark Knight Rises came out. I saw it like 3 or 4 times in the theater.
Yeah,
honestly,
I loved it when it came out.
Yeah, I was very much hyped on it.
You were so young and full of joy.
Yeah.
Bliss.
I thought you were gonna say something else, but whatever. I'm
not
gonna say. He's just so full of beans.
Full of beans.
But yeah, if it's like something like that, then I understand.
If it actually helps the experience for like a legit issue, that's different. But it's just like, actually, I want Spider-Punk to look different now.
Yeah, if it's just like little minor details that don't really matter that much, then why?
Yeah, especially because it's like. We kind of know the animators are a bit overworked now, so knowing that they're like having them patch the movie after the theatrical run is just kind of weird to me. I'm like, work on your next movie, like,
right?
Just put out a movie and be fine with it.
Yeah,
like I feel like that's an issue now. It's like video games kind of have this video game. Did I say video games the first time? Movies have this very video game like aspect where they'll like put it out and then the director will like. Or visual effects people will fix stuff and then they'll like sneak it out in theaters and people will be like, whoa, look, like all this stuff is different now. And then the DVD and Blu-ray come out and a bunch of other stuff is different, like and errors were fixed. And I don't know, I just feel like movies get like updates now, and I think that's kind of
yeah. With video games, it's a little different.
It makes sense for video games because
it makes sense, but I don't, because like Nakey Jakey has made this point before, how like he's like discouraging people to pre-order games because
I totally agree.
It's like video game developers have now gotten lazy, where it's like, oh, we need to have this game like released like around this time.
Yeah,
like,
well,
for
the developers aren't lazy. It's the companies that put a deadline on them.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And then
so
the
they're like, oh, we'll
developers,
just release it, and then we'll just fix it, with updates and such.
And then they print the disc, and then they have to basically keep finishing the game, and then the rest of the game comes out on an update.
Right? Yeah.
So that's a bad practice, and that's just because of deadlines and games are too expensive to make and take too much time.
Yeah, and with Across the Spider-Verse, it just kind of seems like the directors are like,
it's like the movie was like fine.
I want to change this.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
It's like I don't want the goth punk character to have lipstick in this scene.
You
It's
already
like,
blew our minds with this movie.
Yeah,
like you exceeded the first one.
I think
with
it just
all the stuff.
I think the only reason it kind of bothered me was because I saw a comparison shot of the Spider-Punk thing, and I was like, it just looks worse now.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to see that now.
Yeah,
I don't want to see
maybe
that
in motion, like
comparisons. I
it
don't want
won't be as drastic, but
I'd rather just watch the movie again.
Yeah.
And then maybe later, like, check out the comparisons.
Yeah, it wouldn't like ruin it. I wouldn't be like, oh, a horrible movie now. Like it's definitely still just as good because the core of the movie is still there. But it's I went through the thread. It was just shocking how many like changes they made.
That's crazy.
And I don't think I would notice it, but now that I know about it, it's gonna bug me. Like I'll like think about it while watching it again.
Yeah,
I don't think it would ruin it. I wouldn't lower my score for it, obviously, because it's not the movie like the people's fault. It's just bizarre. It's just a weird thing.
That is very weird,
especially for an animated movie where it's like that's kind of the point. Like people love the visuals of it, and now they're altering the visuals. So obviously, a lot of fanatics are going to notice differences and be like, "What the heck," So
that's very weird. Don't know why they.
It's
would
not
do
like,
that,
oh no,
whatever.
we have to edit out a boom mic in this one shot. Yeah. Which I'm kind of on the side
just for
of
the live action scenes with Donald Glover.
Yeah, just in like it's like different with like live action movies because you change something like that and no one cares. But it's like animation. The point of it is the visuals, and if people love it and you change it, like people pay attention to visuals way more in animation, so they're gonna notice stuff like that more.
They just must be just like major perfectionists.
That or it's like they're making the third one and they didn't plan it out and now they're trying to fix consistencies so that it lines up with the next movie better or something. I don't know. Because I heard they didn't really like they hadn't like finished writing the third one when the second one was made or something. So I don't know. I don't like. It's
Very
not really
weird.
that big of a deal to me. I just find it really interesting and a little annoying. I'm like, just like leave the movie alone. It's fine.
We should just boycott the next one.
And now it's just like, man, the version we saw in theaters, like, we'll never see again, technically. Which
Well,
isn't that big
at
deal
least-
because it's just like it's really just touch-ups.
At least we have a story to tell.
Yeah,
It's like, I saw the original version.
I
that
saw the
no one
original
can see anymore.
where the lighting was orange instead of blue. But
interesting topic.
Just think it's interesting because it's common. Like it used to just be you'd get a director's cut and then like a real director's cut, like Blade Runner. You got like 4 different versions of that movie. It used to be, a new version came out, but you still have the original, and now it's just like during a theatrical run, they'll put out a new version, and then instead of having like a few different versions that you can kind of like have fun looking between, it's like, no, this is the one that we want you to have, and the other ones don't exist.
Yeah.
It's like everyone hates that about like the original Star Wars movies, So
yeah, it's like impossible to.
Or even like the Evil Dead thing, where the original Evil Dead had a bunch of errors, and people kind of like seeing those mistakes. And in the new version that's distributed, it's all edited out, and it's kind of lame. So
with the dead pixel.
I like seeing.
Oh wait, no, that's not.
Not that. Just stuff like you can tell the moon is fake, or you can see like, the crew off camera.
Movie.
Oh, you're thinking of that zombie movie?
Yeah, the Zack Snyder one.
Yeah, I mean he'll leave that in because he. I mean, at least to his credit, he's just like, well, yeah, it's a flaw, but whatever, I'll keep it in. I don't like him as
people watch the movie.
I don't like him as a director, but I think like as a guy, he seems chill.
Sure, yeah.
And,
you could probably say.
I think I get why people like him, but I don't like his stuff.
Yeah,
his fake Star Wars movie looks kind of bad. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry,
Matt Cotton. We know that you love everything.
Maybe it'll
he
be cool.
does.
I mean, it looks better than anything he's made in forever. But
I didn't know that he was doing that. Or
his
maybe
best
I
movie
forgot.
is The Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, and no Zack Snyder fan ever brings it up in conversation.
That's Zack Snyder?
Yeah, the Owl movie is him, and that movie's awesome.
I thought that was like the same guy who did Happy Feet or whatever.
No, that's George Miller, dude.
Oh yeah,
George Miller made Happy
What
Feet.
the heck?
Yeah,
These directors making
right.
weird
That was
animated
George Miller,
movies.
right?
You know, I think you're right.
I'm gonna look. I need to look it up. I know the Happy Feet's like a weird. It's like, why did he direct that kind of director?
Yeah,
it's George Miller. Okay, yeah,
I
Mad
haven't
Max
seen-
guy made Happy Feet.
That's funny.
But yeah, the
I
Owl
haven't
movie
seen The Legend of
Snyder.
the Guardians in a long time though. I remember the Owl City song.
Oh yeah,
which is
that
funny.
movie's awesome, and I actually really like it.
I need to rewatch it. I remember Jeffrey Rush plays one of the owls.
Yeah, it's cool. And every time Snyder fans like geek out about his movies, I've never heard a single one of them mention it. And I'm
That's
like,
funny.
Why?
I forgot
It's
he
his.
did
It's
it.
like the best thing he's ever done and will ever make. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Not sorry.
His Dawn of the Dead remake, whatever, is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not talking about Zack Snyder anymore. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, okay. So, it's your turn for a recommendation.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll recommend an album I've been jamming out to a lot. Because I can't think of anything else. I'll recommend Expert in a Dying Field by The Beths. The Beths.
I know a Beth.
Yeah.
Is she one of them?
Probably.
Probably.
Came out this year. No, wait. This is 2022. What?
Huh.
I thought that came out this year. Well,
Time
whatever. I'll
sure
still
flies by.
I'll still recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, recommendations don't have to be from this year.
I was just thinking of like, oh yeah, this is gonna be one of my favorites of this year, so I'll recommend it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because my
I think I
last
thought it came out this
recommendation was
year.
Talking Heads.
I thought it came out this year because I was with someone at a record store and they got it, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the newer Beth's album.
Huh.
So I
Well,
thought they meant
it is
new, like
newer.
it just came out, but it was their
They
new,
lied.
it was their newest one.
Liar.
But it's super good. It's awesome.
What's it like?
It's
What
like
is
it's
oh, hi Watson. He just kind of
it's got tinges of
peered
folk
around
here
the
and there, but it's pretty
corner.
it's pretty rockin' album, like indie rock, jam, female vocalist. It's just fun.
Nice.
It's just a really fun, upbeat album.
Okay.
Beths are really cool. I found them because of Abby, but apparently they're just like a super niche, like hipsters love them kind of band. So
Sure.
Rat Boys had a new album too. That's really good. But yeah.
Yeah.
Watson. But yeah, the best Expert in the Dying Field. I've been listening to it a lot, and it's awesome. So
Cool. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, it's fun. I bet you'd jam with it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Does it feel to be an expert in a dying field? And how do you know it's over when you can't let go? You can't let go, you can't stop, you can't rewind. Life is learned over time till you're an expert in a dying field.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Mitchell.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you remember because we talked about this before. What we're gonna do for our next episode?
Yeah, just a
Wait,
wing it.
wait. I got to lead up to it.
Oh.
I have to lead the audience up to it. Sorry,
Watson
I'm like
sticking his butthole in your microphone.
he likes to get up on my couch and like rub himself all over it. It's like a thing dogs do.
Why are you rubbing
sometimes,
yourself
where
all over?
Like,
Oh,
he
he's
likes to
like
get his
holding your
scent
blanket with his
everywhere.
mouth.
What do you do?
He's making a little nest.
You're
to
not
lay
doing
in.
anything naughty, are you?
No,
Watson?
he's not. He's just making a nest.
Okay. You better not be, because you kind of. Nope. I think you are trying to. So please get off my.
Oh my God.
What are you doing? You're ruining the moment.
Off.
Anyways, so we have a little special announcement to you guys. Art, stop. Okay, get off. Stop. I don't want you tearing up my blanket.
Now he's just biting the couch.
Hey, go on.
Okay.
Be naughty. Be a better Christian dog.
Yeah.
Anyways, so our next episode is actually going to be our 50th episode of the Podwood Forecast.
It's half of 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. And that
wow,
is
50 years of Podwood Forecast. That's crazy.
50 years. So, and that's I've counted all the episodes, and the recent episode that we did where it was the Lost episode and we released 2 versions of it, I'm just counting as one. So technically the next episode is going to be our 50th episode.
Yeah.
Also not including the trailer episode that we have too. So,
yes.
We just decided, I suggested to Mitchell, and he liked the idea, that our next episode is just going to be an episode about nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing in particular. I mean, like, we're just gonna chat about like whatever comes to our minds. We'll probably do some like housekeeping and we'll do housekeeping and answer any questions that you guys might have. But otherwise, it's just gonna be a kind of like unplanned episode.
Yeah.
Where we just talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Which will be very easy for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of sometimes do that anyway.
I mean, yeah, we'll like have episodes before we even record, basically. Sometimes.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
So.
Yeah, it's what we do in normal life.
Yeah.
And it'll kind of harken back to the like early days of Podwood Forecast, where we just kind of talked about whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, this will be a great opportunity for you guys to leave a question or whatever that you have in our question thread in our Facebook community, or you can always leave a question like on our YouTube video.
Yeah, what if we you can edit this out if you don't like this idea, but like if it's an episode about nothing, but what if I mean, we probably wouldn't be able to get enough questions anyway, but I'm like, what if randomly throughout the episode we answer a question from someone?
Oh, yeah.
It's like if we have like a few questions, we can make it like a half somewhat loose Q&A. It's like, all right, let's answer a question.
Yeah.
I'm running out of things to say.
I mean, I don't know. I say we just don't plan it. We
Yeah.
just kind of just be
it's not
loosey-goosey.
Yeah, true. I like that.
Let's
do it. See what happens.
We'll see what we shall see.
Yeah.
So yeah, tune in for that. I think it's gonna be a fun episode, and yeah,
I'm gonna talk about the state of the roads in Illinois.
we're gonna talk about gun control.
Gun control to Major Tom,
which is actually kind of a topical thing today, but we're not gonna actually talk about that.
It's a topical thing today.
Yeah, the whole thing happening in New Mexico. You haven't heard about that?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I don't pay attention to anything.
Oh, well, in New Mexico, they've made it illegal for anyone to like conceal carry a gun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, no, I was just referencing that old joke that I made in the Lost episode that made you laugh really hard.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, and then after that, we'll have like a normal episode, whatever. But thanks, guys, for supporting us for all these 50 years.
It's been so long.
Can't wait to record the episode. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do we want to end this episode, Mitchell?
We don't.
We just go on forever.
Just leave 5 hours of silence after this.
Everyone listening is like, oh my gosh, yeah, why didn't I see that? The time for this episode is infinity.
Why is this episode like, why is the length like breaking off the side of my screen?
Yeah, it's like,
and just leaving.
It's like when you're watching a live stream, but you're like 5 minutes behind. And it's
like the
going.
final boss of Tears of the Kingdom. Anyone who knows, you know.
I don't know.
Exactly.
You know what? Never mind. We're ending the episode.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Podwood Forecast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like for us to give you a shout out on the show, be sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And also feel free to look in the show notes for links to our social media, our Twitter and Facebook. And as always, stay beautiful, and thanks for listening.